Streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
They're explosive, very talented offense.
You got to get Dak confused because right now he is firing on all cylinders.
You have to affect him, and they have a really good offensive line, so that's hard. But you got to turn the ball over somehow.
Mike Danger.
A win on Sunday against Dallas would certainly help the Bills' odds of making sure that Week 18 game is meaningful, and it's going to be a challenge.
Gene Battaglia.
Beat Dallas and then one slip up from the Dolphins. Would the Buffalo Bills suddenly be the most dangerous team in the AFC playoffs if they made it?
Yes. The answer is yes.
New York quarterbacks Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson are the NFC and AFC Offensive Players of the Week.
Because he's Italian! New England, Bill Belichick, they're going to move on at the end of the year.
The NFL is headed to Brazil.
Draymond's fist versus Yusuf Nurkic's face.
Nikola Jokic got the boot just before halftime in Chicago for cursing at an official.
We'll talk some Sabres, we'll talk some Amerks.
Hockey. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan. Rochester.
Hey there. Good afternoon. Welcome on in. Pull up a stool and join us here in the Sports Bar, Danger and Battaglia. Rochester's only local sports talk show. We're glad you're listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950. The Fan Rochester sounds its best in the free-to-download Odyssey app. We've got the video stream up at The Fan Rochester on YouTube and on Twitch. We love interacting with you there and appreciate you liking and subscribing. And if you're just lounging around the house, very simple way to get us on your smart device. Just ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. I'm Danger. He's Battaglia.
And just in the last hour, Danger, I was on the phone with an old friend who is so excited on the path that the Buffalo Bills are taking. They are the team of destiny.
Is this a guy that's been banned from the show?
He's not banned.
I don't know.
In fact, he's coming on next week.
What? He's been banned from the show. We can't have him coming in here and being right. Well, what's he going to do? He's going to come in and predict that the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl?
I think a lot of Bills fans, especially if they beat Dallas, they know that's the last guy they want to hear from because he's the jinx. He's the Maloik. He's the guy that has the rose-colored glasses. And when he was working with us, and for everybody in the Odyssey stream, the only remnant we have of Masterstroke, and I'm holding it
there
up.
They are. Put them on.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Rose-colored glasses.
Look at those. Hey, you look all right in those, Chino. Those are sharp. You look like you could be like a highway patrolman with those.
Hey.
Big highway patrolman Bills fan.
I don't even know where you find rose-colored glasses, but these, somebody got these for Masterstroke, and they're here on the shelf in his honor. And, Masterstroke, I love doing this, the fireside chat where you just kind of year in review, Buffalo Bills year in review. And he's a guy that you got to put a smile on your face when you hear from him. He's just so optimistic about everything.
Yeah, I just can't have him coming in here and making predictions that are accurate. We just don't need that here in the sports bar. And that was the last time he came in here with a prediction. He actually nailed it. It was his prediction that remember the Bills last season were having a hard time winning one-score games. And Masterstroke came in here. We actually had him on. This is back in September of 2022. We had him on because it was hurricane season. He moved down to Florida, and we were worried that hurricane, I think it was Hurricane Ian, was bearing down on the Gulf Coast. And so we wanted first and foremost to make sure he was okay, and then he stops by and drops this on us.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but I actually like the Bills in a low-scoring game, like 23-20. We've always figured out how to stop their offense, thankfully. Not completely, but we seem to have always had a decent time against Lamar Jackson. And they always seem to be a lot lower scoring than usual. I just have a feeling it's going to be lower scoring, and the Bills will be right around their spread with a 3-point win somewhere in there. But I like them in the low 20s, somewhere there.
It's possible, Masterstroke, but we're going to hold you accountable one way or the other. So you've got them winning something that they normally don't do, a close game against the Ravens. You say 23-20 on Sunday.
I do. That 0 for their last 8 has got to end somewhere, and I think it ends this week.
This is where the narrator comes in and says, it ended that week.
I think your theory was correct on this, that because he was so worried about the hurricane, he really couldn't put a lot of thought into it and overthink it. And
he can only make a correct prediction when he's not of sound mind.
Right. It was bizarro masterstroke. And in all the years that you and I have been predicting scores, have we even gotten anywhere close? I mean, a few points off here.
We've gotten close.
We've gotten close, but never exact.
In fact, I think we're close most of the time. But yes, that one was like, okay, well, you're done. We don't need you here anymore. If you're going to come around here, be right. Now, I should lighten up a little bit. Masterstroke and his son, Masterstroke Jr., did gift me out of the blue. I never asked for it. They gifted me a Bears throwback Nathan Peterman jersey, which I appreciate, and I wear ironically whenever possible when rooting on the Bears. So I should be a little bit more gracious and say yes, we're having Masterstroke in, and I guess we can lift the ban for one day next week during
the holiday season. Yeah. Who doesn't want to hear from Masterstroke?
Well, I can list off a bunch of people that probably don't want him coming in here and making a prediction that
Wow,
Sean McDermott is a masterstroke by Sean McDermott.
We don't know if the Bills are going to beat Dallas, right? Like it's a coin flip at best. But I do know something will have gone wrong if they lose to Easton Stick. Are we risking alienating Bills fans if we bring in Masterstroke, where he's going to be like, hey, they're going to blow out the Chargers, and then they lose?
You know what? At that point, I don't care because we're on vacation. Okay? You can be upset all you want. It's not my fault. I'm on vacation.
It's Christmas Eve.
Yep.
Who cares?
It'll be Christmas Eve. It'll be the week between Christmas and New Year's. Gino and I will be wearing our house coats, and we'll be wearing our slippers next to the fire, sipping on some eggnog. No, go ahead. Be upset. If that happens, we don't deserve anything. We don't deserve anything for the holidays if that happens on Christmas Eve. That's our lump of coal if that happens. That's not going to happen. All right, so that's next week. Masterstroke joining us in the sports bar for the fireside chat. That's where I'll fire up the jazzy Christmas music from Snoopy, from Charlie Brown, Vince Guaraldi. Yeah, I'll fire that up for the fireside chat, and we'll class things up here a little bit in the sports bar next week. This afternoon in the sports bar, plenty of Bills talk. We'll get a check-in from Sal Capaccio. It's been a minute since we've had Sal on in the sports bar. Get a little vibe check on what's gone on in the last week. How today went, first day back at practice as they get ready for Dallas on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and get some injury updates too, because A.J. Epineza, Micah Hyde, again, it's only Wednesday, but if either of those two players cannot go, you are facing the toughest team this Bills defense has faced this year. I'm sorry, Kansas City traditionally has an offense at that level this year, not so much. Dallas, okay, the 49ers in a different sense, but Dallas, as far as who's on the Bills' schedule, this is the test for Sean McDermott's defense. We'll talk some X's and O's with Sal Capaccio coming up in the 4 o'clock hour.
And as we do every Wednesday, we set you up with some winners for this weekend in the NFL. Our buddy PJ Glasser, the host of BetQL's Send It In and Odyssey Sports Betting Insider, stops by. Insider Calls presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app.
Yeah, he nailed that. Houston was going to stub their toe against the Jets. So he's got some thoughts.
You're bearing the other one that he nailed as well. He also liked the Bears to beat the Lions. And that's one of the few things that I could say from this last week. It's like, for all the betting I did this weekend, like that, those were the two that I'm like, thank God for PJ, because I can't do this without his help. You want to tail PJ Glasser if you want to get some winners this weekend in the NFL. We'll run through a list of games with him. That's coming up here in about 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, so we've got time for your calls, 866-4FAN, 866-4326. As my buddy Danger would say, the table is set.
I have a new candidate for Take of the Year. And I'm going to spring this on you because I got to give a tip of the cap to one of our regulars on Twitter, Peter, who you can reach out to us, by the way, on X, Elon's Twitter, at the Fan Rochester. He said that his belief is that Take of the Year, and we'll announce our Take of the Year next week as well, that Take of the Year should go to Gene Battaglia for Jack is Not a Real Name. I am agreeing with Peter on this one. I mean, I don't want to kill the suspense.
Was that this year or last year?
Was
I don't
this
even
year.
know. It's
Jack is not a real name is a fantastic take, but Peter adds, I appreciate Mad Dog's take on the Lakers in-season tournament banner take. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, how ridiculous I think it is that the banner, they're going to raise a banner for the in-season tournament. And I just wanted to listen to the sweet music of Mad Dog losing his mind over the banner raising for the in-season tournament. This is Take of the Year nominee from Mad Dog, Chris Russo.
Can you imagine what Elgin Baylor is doing right now? How about Jerry West? The logo.
Gosh, I can't.
Kareem. How about Gail Goodrich? Look him up. Happy Hurston. Jimmy McMillan. All right? Paul Gasol. God rest his soul, Kobe. We are going to drink champagne after we win a regular season tournament, first inaugural, in the locker room. And then to top it off, they got 18, 19 banners. How many championships? 17. And they're drinking champagne. And then they're going to raise a banner to the rafters in LA for winning this inaugural tournament. Banners are for championships and retired numbers. They're not for a 4-game series in the middle of November. And I'm not knocking the inaugural tournament. The Silver did a great job with it. I'm not knocking it. But you got to have a little perspective here. That's the Lakers are the lands of West and Baylor and Wilt and Kareem and Jamal Wilkes. And how about Pat Riley? Think Riley liked to see that when he was in Miami? Watching them freaking put the banner up? Pat must have thrown up when he saw that. How about Magic Johnson? You think Magic like that? How about Worthy? That is a disgrace.
Dog is on one.
Look at this.
He's on one.
Banners. And you tarnish that with the banner from the inaugural Challenge Cup? God help me, please. Number 3.
Lord, not the
and you
Lord.
know I'm right.
I think you're overreacting.
Stephen A comes in with the hammer. I think you're overreacting.
I was going to say, Molly kind of ruins it with her shrieks there.
I got to tell you, I love that take so much. And, you know, I love it partially because it was exactly the same thing that I thought, but he delivers it in a way that I could never deliver it. That's why he's who he is.
He's the great.
And
he's
why
the great one,
I am who I am. And it's with that in mind, Gino, that today, later on this hour, or you know what, after our conversation with PJ, I wanted to unveil something new on the sports bar for the first time ever. I wanted to do the 2023 Francesas. The Francesa Awards, the 2023 Francesas in the sports bar.
What are the Francesas?
Well, you are talking about Mad Dog, talking about Mike Francesa.
Oh, who cares?
These are the legends, the GOATs, the people that we are not here without them, right? They laid the groundwork for all of us to be able to come on the radio and spit takes. And that includes you calling us at 866-4326, 866-4FAN. The best calls that we get are the ones that come in strong, that you come in with a take. I mean, Romy's been saying it for years. Have a take, don't suck, right? And it's because of guys like Mike Francesa. It's because of guys like Mad Dog. So the Francesas... and the genesis of this...
Oh, who cares?
Francesa saying, who cares? Maybe you remember...
how did that come about?
How it came about. Like, this was from a few years ago. More than a few years ago now. This would have been 2018. November of 2018.
Still on WFAN. Mike Francesa at this point.
Eddie in Hoboken. What's up, Eddie?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's happening?
Hey, Mike, Stan Lee died today. Did you ever meet the guy? What do you think of him?
Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stan Lee.
I don't
Never
know who
heard
he
of Stan
is.
Lee?
Don't know who he is, no.
Jesus.
Who is he? Who is he? Who is Stan Lee?
He was one of the creators of Marvel Comics.
Oh, who cares? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a comic book guy. Is that who he is, Stan Lee? The guy
He created Spider-Man. That was his big thing.
created Spider-Man? Sorry. I never was a comic book reader as a kid. I apologize.
Oh,
Never.
who cares? Oh, who cares? Oh, who cares?
Oh, careless. Somebody died. Oh, who cares?
So I've got the 2023 Francesas lined up and ready to go.
Why do I think some I will agree with and some are going to piss me off? Why do I think that this is where you're going with
That's
this?
what a great take does. It splits the audience. We'll go through the list. The 2023 Francesas are coming up. later on this afternoon. We'll get through our conversation with PJ first, and then we'll get to all of the past 12 months Francesas.
Oh, who cares?
It's a holiday gift from me to you.
Fantastic. Cannot wait.
So there you go. The table is set, and the Bills got back to practice today, Gino.
They did. So they are small favorites, 2.5 points over Dallas. And on the Wednesday injury, and again, injury reports on a Wednesday, just kind of, you still can't say, all right, Micah Hyde and A.J. Epinesa will not play, but that's still possible. But understand they didn't practice today. Looking at some of the others, Von Miller was given the Veterans Day arrest. Maybe that's going to be the MO, and it's also convenient that he's not around on a Wednesday to answer, decline interview requests. That's also something. Dalton Kincaid, it's listed as thumb, shoulder. He was limited today. Taron Johnson, limited with an ankle. Everybody else play. Interesting that Josh Allen was actually listed on the injury report, right shoulder, as a full participant. Kyer Elam, full participant. He did not get activated, by the way. Dawson Knox did. He was a full participant. As is, the window is open for Justin Shorter.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so he was at practice today. That's one of those forgotten Bills, like Justin Shorter, forgot. Wide receiver that the Bills took late in the draft.
This red shirt year.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. And you also have another player that we're kind of wondering about, like Damian Harris. Oh, yeah, like what happened to Damian Harris? Is he done for the year? We don't know. He was not activated today, or the window was not open, but the window was open today on Justin Shorter.
Okay, good news. There's the Buffalo Bills injury report, and we'll have Sal Capaccio join us here in the 4 o'clock hour to give us the latest from One Bills Drive as the Bills look to take on look to advance past the Dallas Cowboys here and improve their chances of winning another AFC East title here over the course of the next few weeks. One of their opponents here in the next few weeks, a lot of noise circulating around New England.
Yeah, so the report last night from NBC Boston reporter Tom Curran, who, just point this out, reputable reporter, been doing this a long time. Okay, he's not doing this for clicks per se. He had the report last night. The Patriots have made up their mind. And it happened after the Patriots lost a really boring game overseas in Germany to the Colts. And Robert Kraft made the decision coming on the way back that the Patriots were going to make a change at head coach. And Bill Belichick, of course, continues on. Nobody else has reported that. None of the NFL info guys, but you sure better believe that Bill Belichick in his Wednesday press conference was asked about it, and he went back to the same thing whenever he was brought up. Just here, we're getting ready for Kansas City. Just getting ready for Kansas City.
Yeah, like, what do you think you were going to get out of him when you ask him about his future with New England?
Actually, I'm retiring. Or actually, we did sit down, and yes, you got me.
Yeah. Shocking. I'm going to walk away. In fact, this is my last game. We're just going to pull up stakes here for the end of the season. I just start thinking about, who could be next in line if he leaves. Is it a promote from within situation? Like, do you have some infighting within the coordinators, like Gerard Mayo or Bill O'Brien? Like, if Belichick leaves, does O'Brien leave with him? Does Gerard Mayo stay behind? Do they go completely off the reservation and bring somebody from the outside in, which doesn't seem like something they would do because of just how long Belichick has been there? It'll be a fascinating story to continue to watch, but there's almost, just from watching the Patriots last Thursday night, don't you feel like there's a little less pressure on them? Like they're playing a little bit more free with Bailey Zappi, and the way they played against Pittsburgh felt like they were doing to Pittsburgh what Pittsburgh wanted to do to New England. Like every game is just going to be ugly.
There was something different last weekend, too, that you and I both noted. If in the past, if Bill Belichick had an extra day or two to prepare, awesome, I'll watch more film or get ready here for our next opponent, Kansas City, blah, 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 blah. You had 10 days. He wasn't in Foxborough. For that matter, he wasn't in Massachusetts. He went to the Army-Navy game.
Yeah.
And good for him. And this is what players do and sometimes coaches do on their day off. Not Bill Belichick normally. And there he was wearing the helmet, Lee Corso style, and having some fun. And I don't know, that comes across to me maybe that as a guy who accepts his fate, I'm going to have some fun, and let's just kind of see what we can do here in these final games, and I'm going to walk off, look at the body of work. And you disagree with me on this. I stand by the body work says that he is the greatest head coach of all time. Period.
I mean, by definition of championships won, of course.
By definition of I nurture and promote guys, no, not at all, not even close.
No.
But
that's my argument. My argument is that if the standard is all of it, championships, development of players, development of coaches, it's Bill Walsh for me. Like, Bill Walsh is the guy that you could look at his body of work as a head coach, the innovations that he brought to the football field in terms of his play calling, his design, and then his coaching tree. It's impeccable. It's fantastic. Sean McDermott is an offshoot of the Bill Walsh coaching tree. It's like the Kevin Bacon game.
Oh, okay. Because of Reed. Okay.
Right.
I'm like, really?
Anybody, it's like he's like the Kevin Bacon of NFL coaches. Like there's a lot of really, really good coaches in the NFL that you could trace their path all the way back to Bill Walsh and be like, that's how impactful and influential he was as a leader of men. Belichick is his own guy. And he's had a lot of success in New England with the greatest quarterback of all time by his side. He deserves, I'm not trying to discredit him, but I'm going to stop short of saying he is the greatest coach of all time. I'm not going to do it. Can't do it.
Well, I have a take coming up and I'll drink to that. Because if this is true, let's say this is true. His last road game as head coach of the New England Patriots will be in Buffalo.
Yeah.
How tasty is that?
It is tasty. And for some reason, because every time they play the Patriots, I feel this way, I'm nervous about that game.
I'm not nervous. Yep. And also, I would say this. I think it's actually bad for Buffalo. Like, you want Bill Belichick chasing the Don Shula record and, scratching out 6, 7, 8 wins. Not going to be... Like, he's not the personnel guy. He's tired. I'm interested to know what's next here. Like, would he take a year off, or would he listen to the owner of the Commanders?
Well, he take a gig with Army. Like, he was there for the Army-Navy thing. Was he there interviewing? Was he laying the groundwork for an exit strategy to take his next gig?
He might take a lacrosse gig for all we know.
Right. Like, he can do whatever he wants, and we'll all have to be like, yeah, that's fine, good. He deserves it. He does. He deserves better than what he's had the last few years in New England. But again, I go back to I don't know what you expected when you had Matt Patricia, a defensive-minded guy, calling your plays on offense last year. You're kind of recycling through guys. You've got your son on the staff, and he's probably not qualified. And you kind of. I'm not sympathetic at all, but you would think that the greatest coach of all time could do more than what he's been able to do since Tom Brady left New England. Hasn't happened for Bill Belichick.
To get back together with Linda.
Is that his ex?
Yeah, his ex-girlfriend.
His ex-girlfriend? God, he must be miserable to be around if things aren't going well. Like, probably a really good guy when things like... The Bill Belichick that was on set last weekend, that's a Bill Belichick I'd love to tap into.
That's what I've heard about Belichick.
Yeah,
that,
tap into that knowledge, have some conversations.
Yeah, that he can be very personable, but when it's football time, nothing. Yeah.
All right, we're going to get to PJ Glasser next, get some winners for Week 15 in the NFL. PJ Glasser, the host of BetQL's Send It In, an Odyssey Sports Betting Insider, joining us next. Mike Danger for FanDuel Sportsbook, official partner of 95.7 The Fan. This holiday season, all your wishes are coming true on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, everything from spreads to player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Mike, M-I-K-E, to kick off the NFL season and play with me on the NFL, in the NFL, on FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only only. $5 pregame moneyline wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Update.
A.J. Epineza and Micah Hyde did not practice for the Buffalo Bills today. Von Miller, again, given a Veterans Day off. Head coach Sean McDermott knows this is a tough opponent.
They're explosive. I think they're a very talented offense. I think well coached really across all three phases of their team with offense, defense, and special teams. And they're, as you've seen and you mentioned, they're hard to stop.
Bills and Cowboys, 4:25 the kickoff on Sunday. Our pregame coverage will begin at noon. We'll talk to PJ Glasser, host of Send It In, coming up next year in the Sports Bar. Hockey tonight, the Amherst, first of three straight on the road there in Springfield. Don Stevens will have the call at 7. Sabres also on the road tonight. They're in Colorado, 10 p.m. the puck drop time. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Straight up with no chaser. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Welcome back into the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia. Happy you're with us. Wednesday means we get you some winners. We look ahead to this weekend's action in the NFL, and to do that, the host of BetQL's Send It In, Odyssey Sports Betting Insider PJ Glasser. Insider calls presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. And PJ had me on his show on Sunday, Gino, and we were talking Bills and Chiefs. And there was, while it was happening, I think we were all, PJ, JP, his co-host, and myself, we were all kind of stunned as what was happening in Cleveland. We couldn't believe that the Jags were down to the quarterback that they had starting that game.
He played for the Ravens? Is that the guy that started
he was playing at an elite level. Who are we talking about, PJ? I'm trying to remember.
Joe Flacco, Danger. That's who we're talking about. Cleveland is wacko for Flacco.
They absolutely are. They absolutely are. And they're calling him elite. I think it was Myles Garrett that even used the word elite. He's like, he is elite. Okay, that's where we are in the AFC. We got you in here, PJ, to get some winners. And let's start by staying in the AFC North, because the last time we saw the Steelers, they were getting embarrassed by a bad Patriots team. And now they take on the Colts. I know how much you like spots. Tell me about this game.
Danger, it's my favorite bet of the week, fellas. Love the Steelers, plus 2.5. They're going to win the game outright. This is all about Mike Tomlin, and this is all about the Steelers. Like you said, they're coming off 2 terrible losses against Arizona and New England. Their backs are against the wall. I talk all the time on this show every week about, buy low, sell high. I mean, you can't really buy any lower than the Steelers right now, right? They're heading in the wrong direction. Nobody thinks they're going to make the playoffs. You look at that schedule, though, guys. They end the season home against the Bengals, at Seattle, and at Baltimore after this game. So they have any shot of making the playoffs. They better win this game. Indianapolis has been a nice story, but maybe they were exposed a little bit against the Bengals last week in that second half. No Jonathan Taylor, I think, is going to continue to hurt them. It's all about Pittsburgh, though, and Mike Tomlin, in these kind of situations, he delivers more often than not. I like the Steelers.
PJ Glass, your host, to Send It In, going over some of these games. And look, last we saw the Packers, losing to Tommy DeVito. He's Italian, though, I hear.
You lost it. Of course you lost to the Giants. He's Tommy DeVito. He's Italian, Gino. He's Italian. You're not going to lose to Tommy DeVito. Get out of here.
So maybe the public's down on the Packers here a little bit. They're only giving up 3 at home against the Buccaneers. PJ, do you like Green Bay in this spot?
I do, guys. I do. And, when we get to December football and we start getting these matchups where we get warm weather, dome teams outside, and they got to play in places like Green Bay in December, I'm always going to lean to that cold weather team. So I already like that aspect from it for Green Bay. But then you look at where these teams are heading into this game. Well, Tampa just came off of their biggest win of the season, right? They're currently in first place right now in the NFC South. If the playoffs started today, they would be in. That was a huge win. They're probably a little bit of an emotional hangover after that. And then Green Bay, like you guys said, I mean, they were 6-point favorites against the Giants. That was a game they felt like they probably thought they were going to win, especially after beating the Lions and the Chiefs and the way that they were playing. But I like them at home this week. And again, it's Lambeau in December. It's a cold, tough place to play for a warm weather team like Tampa. So I'll take the Packers to bounce back this week.
All right, so you got another NFC South divisional matchup between the Panthers and the Falcons. I'm trying to predict what you might be leaning, which direction you might be leaning. I mean, is this the Falcons out of desperation that they're going to put it on the Panthers, or do you actually think the Panthers might show something here this week?
I like the total the best, Danger, this week. I like the under 35. Carolina scored 18 points or fewer, guys, in their last 7 games. Their offense has been terrible. They settle for too many field goals, way too many turnovers. Bryce Young, as we know, just is not developing like they would hope. Like, they thought he would, certainly to this point, right? It's 13 games in his career. And also this line. This is the stinkiest line of the week, right? Atlanta 6-7. They're tied for first in the NFC South, playing record-wise the worst team in the NFL in Carolina, who's won one game. And this is only a 3-point spread. The public is going to be all over the Falcons this week. The line's telling you that Carolina is going to keep it close. So if they do keep it close, this game's probably going to be low scoring. So I like the under 35 in this game.
Yeah, PJ, another game which I have no idea which way to go. And if you're giving up, double digits, it's always, all right, pause here. What are we talking about? But you've got the 49ers looking like a Super Bowl contender. Nothing's getting their way. They had their little kind of hiccup in the middle of the season. They look right now. But Kyler Murray's back in Arizona. Can the Cardinals keep this game close? The over-under at 48, and the Cardinals getting 13.5 here.
Yeah, I mean, guys, this is the second time these teams are playing, which you always like if you want to back the underdog. We know it's tough to beat a team 2 times in a division. And then you look at the spots for these two teams, right? San Francisco, the last 3 games, they played Seattle twice, obviously that game against Philadelphia. They have the Ravens next week on Monday Night Football on Christmas night, which is going to be a fantastic game. How can they not be looking ahead a little bit to that? And now you got to play Arizona on the road, who's coming off of a bye. So they get to regroup, refresh, and we know they're still playing hard. They're still battling. Guys are competing for jobs. Kyler Murray is competing for his job. I mean, he doesn't know if he's going to be the quarterback in Arizona next year, if he has to impress for another team elsewhere. I just think this is too many points. I hate getting in front of a team like San Francisco, who is such a machine right now, and beating everybody by double digits. But, man, 13.5 is a lot of points. I think the Niners win. But I think the Cardinals, I think it's like a 31-21 kind of game, so I'll take Arizona.
PJ, the game we've been spending all week talking about as we look ahead to late afternoon Sunday, the Bills hosting the Cowboys. And the Bills have looked more impressive offensively with Joe Brady. Josh Allen has made a few mistakes, but nothing catastrophic. The defense, for once, did not let the team down, albeit with a Kadarius Toney offsides call to aid them in their efforts to give that game away to Kansas City last week. And then Dallas, who I really have a hard time finding anything to hate about. The way they've been playing recently is pretty remarkable. Which way are you leaning between the Cowboys and the Bills, PJ?
Guys, there's a reason that this game is only a 1.5-point spread, because it's truly a toss-up. These are two of the best teams in football. I think if you look at power ratings right now, like, believe it or not, the Bills are actually the second highest power-rated team. They're 7-6, but as you guys know, I mean, we all see the ceiling. It feels like if Buffalo can just get in to the playoffs, that they maybe could get to the Super Bowl. Another great test for them this week. Until Dallas can prove to me that they can beat a team the caliber of Buffalo on the road with a spread this short where you essentially need them to win the game, I'm going to take Buffalo. So this was at 2.5. It's gone back down to 1.5, but I still like the Bills in this spot. I mean, we know what's going to happen. Allen's going to make some incredible plays. He's going to do some great things. He's probably going to have a turnover or 2 sprinkled in. But the way that defense is playing, aside from the second half against Philadelphia, especially against some of these good teams, I've been impressed with all the injuries that they've had to deal with. So I would lean Buffalo in the game, but I think Cowboys teaser, if you want to tease it up to 7.5, that feels like the good play. I think just like Chiefs game was last week, this is going to be a 3 or 4 point game either way.
PJ, we get the rare Sunday night game for the Jacksonville Jaguars at home as they're taking on the Ravens. The Jaguars are going to be wearing all teal in this game, and Baltimore coming off a win that they eked out at home, and Jacksonville, as we talked about right at the top, coming off a loss against Cleveland. So if we're just kind of using this as a sine wave here, Jacksonville coming off a tough loss, are you going the Jags, or are you looking at Baltimore here knowing, hey, the Ravens have the number 1 overall seed in the AFC in their sights?
I like the Jags, guys, plus the points. Historically, Jacksonville is just one of those places that the Ravens never play well at. Everybody knows, if you're a fan of a team, there are certain places around the league where your team just doesn't play well. And for the Ravens, that's Jacksonville, and it's always been that way. The games are always close. They're usually always ugly. Jacksonville's a desperate team. They've lost 2 in a row. Their chances of winning the 1 seed hinge on this game, but also, they're just trying to win the division. The Colts and the Texans are still only 1 game back of them, so it's a huge game. Gene, like you said, the Ravens obviously trying to hold on to that number 1 seed. If there are still 3.5s out there and you can grab that with Jacksonville, I really like that. If you can only get a 3, I would probably lean Ravens on the money line. I think they squeak out another close win, but Jacksonville's going to play them tough. This is going to be a close game. The Ravens-Jags games in Jacksonville are always tight. So I'd lean the Jags plus the points, but I do think the Ravens probably squeak out a win.
Let's talk a little bit about some futures here, especially in the AFC where we're talking about that 1 seed. And we've spent a lot of time based on the results of Monday night with Miami choking away that game against Tennessee. Now we look as Bills fans, we're like, hey, that Week 18 game in Miami could be for the AFC East. So is there value in the AFC East when you're looking at the odds of who could be the AFC East champion? And what about that 1 seed overall in the AFC, PJ?
Absolutely. We'll start with the East. And, guys, look, as you know, the Bills' schedule, tough game this week against Dallas. But then after that, those next 2 games, especially with the Herbert injury, that game at the Chargers certainly doesn't look as hard as maybe it once did. Then you get New England at home. They're going to be double-digit favorites in that game. And then obviously at Miami. But the Bills are in a good spot, especially if they can win this week, because the Dolphins finished the season with Dallas, Baltimore, and then obviously Buffalo. If the Bills can just stay 1 game back of Miami, they'll have a chance to win that division. And at 3-1 plus 300, with the way that they're playing, and Miami and Tyreek Hill maybe he's a little banged up, and if you can get Miami away from home and playing some good teams, what are they going to look like? I think absolutely Buffalo's worth the play. So I really like that at plus 300. And then for the 1 seed, I still like the Chiefs, guys, at plus 300. If you're looking for a value play, the Ravens' schedule is brutal here down the stretch. We just talked about that Jacksonville game. Then they have to go at San Francisco the following week. They finish with the Dolphins and the Steelers at home. 4 really tough games. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are going to be favored by a touchdown or more in all of their remaining 4 games. They're favored by 9 this week against New England. Then, they have easy games at home against the Raiders. They get the Bengals at home, even though they're playing better, but it's still Browning instead of Burrow. And then they finish out the Chargers with Easton Stick as well. So the way that the Dolphins and the Ravens schedule compare to the Chiefs, and Mahomes has never played a road playoff game. They seemingly always get the number 1 seed. I would still take a shot with the Chiefs to get that 1 seed at plus 300.
PJ Glasser, your host of Send It In. PJ, we haven't spent a lot of time talking about the coach of the year. Maybe that was because, it's going to go to Dan Campbell or it's going to go to DeMeco Ryans. But hearing both of those head coaches lose this past week, and now all of a sudden if Detroit and Houston stumble down the stretch and maybe they get to the postseason, that would be enough. But is there any value for anybody else? How would you handicap the market right now for the coach of the year?
Yeah, Gene, so when you're looking at Coach of the Year, you mentioned right now there are 3 guys tied at the top at plus 325 on BetMGM. Dan Campbell, DeMeco Ryans, and Mike McDaniel. I think if you want to place a wager on one of those 3 guys, it's got to be Dan Campbell because he's the safest play. DeMeco Ryans and the Texans, there's a good chance they might not make the playoffs, especially with Stroud hurt. Mike McDaniel and Dolphins, we just talked about, might not even win the division. Dan Campbell and the Lions, it feels like right now we kind of know where they're going to fall. They're not going to get the 1 seed. They're not going to miss the playoffs, but they're probably going to win their division, and they're probably going to have 10, 11 wins. So if you're looking for those 3 guys, I think Campbell's the safest play, but I think it's a great market to attack some long shots. You look at a guy like Kevin Stefanski, all the injuries that the Browns have had to deal with this year, he's 12-1 to win the award. And if the Browns make the playoffs, if they win 10, 11 games, he's certainly going to have a chance. I think John Harbaugh, we just talked about the Ravens schedule. If they win out, go 14-3 and get the 1 seed at 22-1, he's got a chance. Zach Taylor is 25-1. What if he makes the playoffs with Jake Browning when we all thought the Bengals were left for dead? So I think there's some really good value on some of these guys down the board. Even a guy like Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings, with all that they've had to deal with. Justin Jefferson's hardly played. Cousins has been out. So I know there's a 3-way tie at the top, and if you want to take a wager on one of those guys, I certainly understand. But, man, guys, there's a case to be made, I think, down the board for some of these guys with some really good value.
PJ, for anybody listening who is unfamiliar with BetQL, Let them know about what a resource that can be for them. And then let's dive in a little bit deeper and talk about your specific show for BetQL on the BetQL network. Send it in, which happens weekdays, and how people can check that out.
Yeah, guys, BetQL, we call ourselves the home of wagertainment, right? So we love having fun. We obviously love talking sports betting as well. And my show specifically, Send It In, 1 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's 30 minutes, quick, rapid fire, and it's interactive. So people that listen can tune in and send any questions or best bets that they have at me. And we kind of do what we do on these phone calls, guys. You know, we go through a little bit of everything. We talk awards. We talk about the games. We look at some futures and everything going on around the sports world. So it's a lot of fun what we're doing at BetQL and what we're doing over at Send It In as well.
Yeah, and when we talk to you next week, PJ, let's talk a little bit about the bowl games. A lot of people are going to be really interested in having a little holiday action there, PJ. PJ, you're the best. Really appreciate your time and your plays here once again.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Always great talking to you.
There is PJ Glasser. He is the host of BetQL Send It In. You can hear that in the free-to-download Odyssey app. You can follow along BetQL on YouTube and on Twitch as well. PJ Glasser delivering some heat, giving us some winners for this weekend in the NFL.
Yeah, it seems like the market's a little slow to react to the coach of the year. Like Mike McDaniel still is tied. It's going to be Campbell, right? If the Lions don't completely stub their toe. Or Stefanski's an interesting.
I think if Cincinnati makes the postseason without Joe Burrow, it's Zach Taylor. I mean, that's remarkable to me. The guy that nobody wanted as your quarterback, Jake Browning, nobody wanted that guy. He's bounced around. Nobody thought that guy looks like a starting. He looks like a starting quarterback.
You know what's remarkable, Danger? Cleveland has won with 4 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
4 different quarterbacks have won games for Cleveland this year. And if Joe Flacco, you get him out of the ashes here.
Yeah. It's funny when you see that. And look, it's not to discredit the job that a guy like Sean McDermott has done with the defense. I mean, look, you don't have your guys. You're playing with backups for the majority of the season on that side of the ball in Buffalo. And the defense is still highly rated defense, still a competent defense. Like but the flash that comes with, wow, look at what this guy has done with this quarterback that nobody saw. It's Brian Daboll last year, right? Like, wow, he turned Daniel Jones into something. If you're Zach Taylor or Kevin Stefanski and you make it to the postseason, if they both make it to the postseason, that's a coin flip for me. Like, who do you give it to? I don't know. One of those two guys probably more than I would over Dan Campbell.
Yeah, but you go over recent history here. I'll go back. Like you mentioned, it's always the overachiever award. Mike Vrabel might get fired. It's true. Like, they're underachieving. He was the coach of the year in 2021. They were 1 seed. Did we not forget?
Yeah, right.
Stefanski actually won in 2020.
That's right. Because they made it to the postseason. Yep.
2018 was your guy, Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
Where's he today?
Zach Taylor never won it, right? He's not on that list?
No.
Yeah, Zach Taylor feels like, if we're talking about like dark horse guys right now, if a Jake Browning led Bengals team finds their way when we left them for dead after the Burrow injury, if they find their way in the postseason, that's my guy. It's Zach Taylor for me.
But what's interesting here, and I'd have to do a little research, all these guys, Dable didn't make the Super Bowl. Vrabel didn't make the Super Bowl. Harbaugh, Nagy, McVay 2017, no. That didn't come that year. Garrett, no.
No, it's all overachievers.
Ron Rivera, that's the last time a coach won this award, and they made it to the Super Bowl.
He was also 15-1. Right. Like, if you're 15-1, or if you're 16-1, moving forward, like, yeah, you're probably going to win Coach of the Year because unanimously you've just steamrolled the entire league for the entirety of the regular season. That'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. Lots of factors in play and still a lot of football left to go. I like that PJ likes the value on the Bills to win the AFC East. I'm with him on that. Plus 300 right now to get the Bills winning the AFC East. I feel pretty good about that. Mm-hmm. That feels like a very, very good value right now. Just looking at the schedule. I'm surprised that hasn't moved based on the outcome of Monday night. Based on Tyreek Hill's injury. You know, how often are they going to go to Tyreek Hill down the stretch?
I would actually expect it to be longer because, honestly, Danger, like, it still is going to come down to Week 18, and the Bills would the Bills be favored in that game? I don't think so.
Well, I think if they win against Dallas and if they win against the Chargers and I think they will be favored in that game. Because if you project it out, you think about what might happen to Miami here over the course of the next couple of weeks. It's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough for Miami to scratch out some wins against these really good teams that they're playing. Dallas, Baltimore. Hell, even the Jets this weekend, I think, are going to give Miami some problems. I really believe that. All right, good stuff from PJ. We're going to take a break and come back with, I'll drink to that. We have some takes on tap, Gino. And my first ever Francesas, the 2023 Francesas coming up here on the Sports Bar.
Oh, who cares?
What are the Francesas? I'll explain.
I know we're all focused here on Bills Cowboys, as we should be, but the final regular season home game for Buffalo, how's that going to look? It's going to be historic, right? If this is actually true, that will be the last road game for Bill Belichick as the Patriots head coach. Got some thoughts on that.
Okay, we'll get to that and more next. Some takes on tap. And Sal Capaccio, Buffalo Bills sideline reporter and WGR, joins us in the 4 o'clock hour as well. We'll get a practice report from Sal from Orchard Park coming up here right around 4:25.
You're listening to the Sports Bar. W239BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Fan, Rochester, sports update.
AJ Epineza, Micah Hyde did not practice for the Buffalo Bills today, both with injuries. Von Miller given a Veterans Day off. Head coach Sean McDermott on facing Micah Parsons.
Unique. I think that's the best way to describe him. It's very talented, obviously athletic. They line him up all over the place, on the line of scrimmage, off the line of scrimmage. So I think Coach Quinn does a great job of being creative with those looks.
We'll talk some more Buffalo Bills football later this hour. Sal Capaccio from WGR will join us here in the Sports Bar. We got hockey tonight. The Amherst first of 3 straight on the road there in Springfield. Don Stevens will have the call beginning at 7. Sabres hockey tonight as well. 10 o'clock for the puck drop. TV side tonight, it's on TNT. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
They're explosive, very talented offense.
You got to get Dak confused because right now he is firing on all cylinders.
You have to affect him, and they have a really good offensive line, so that's hard. But you got to turn the ball over somehow.
Mike Danger.
A win on Sunday against Dallas would certainly help the Bills' odds of making sure that Week 18 game is meaningful, and it's going to be a challenge.
Gene Battaglia.
Beat Dallas and then one slip up from the Dolphins. Would the Buffalo Bills suddenly be the most dangerous team in the AFC playoffs if they made it?
Yes. The answer is yes.
New York quarterbacks Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson are the NFC and AFC Offensive Players of the Week.
Because he's Italian!
New England, Bill Belichick, they're going to move on at the end of the year.
The NFL is headed to Brazil. Draymond's fist versus Yusuf Nurkic's face.
Nikola Jokic got the boot just before halftime in Chicago for cursing at an official.
We'll talk some Sabres. We'll talk some Amherst.
Hockey! 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
WGR Sal Capaccio. We'll stop by with his practice report from today in Orchard Park. We'll talk some Bills, Cowboys with our Odyssey Sports sister station, WGR's Sal Capaccio here in about 20-25 minutes or so. Welcome back into the Sports Bar. Appreciate you checking out the Sports Bar here on the Fan at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the free to download Odyssey app, or our video stream up now at the Fan Rochester on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
I am not a fan of the rocking chair tour, or an athlete that says, hey, this is my last year, and then every team, feels obligated. Like, hey, Derek Jeter.
Wait, you mean you shouldn't take another year to appreciate that athlete? When are we getting this for LeBron? What's that going to be like? Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
It's not this year,
right?
right?
No, right. LeBron doesn't do it like, okay, I'm retired. That's it after the fact. He's going to tell you a year in advance. So
he wants to play with his kid. That's the timeline he's laid out.
Yeah.
And we don't even know at this point if his kid is good enough to play in the NBA, but he'll find a way, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, then good luck trying to engineer it too. Like somebody, like if you're like, would every team have to bow? Like I would like, Bronny on my team. All right, well then we have to bring in LeBron, or LeBron says no, you can't draft him. Is he that powerful?
Yeah.
I don't like it when Derek Jeter shows up in Cleveland. Here's our gift, a frame that. What I do like, though, is when it's organic. It comes from the fans. There's Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter, and Fenway getting a standing ovation. Hey, it's your last game. They're not scripted. That is true appreciation.
It's genuine.
Yeah, that's what I like. So here's the question. What do you do if you're a Bills fan on New Year's Eve when your team, and maybe they're on a roll, hosting the final road game for Patriots head coach Bill Belichick? Well, the answer is nothing. Look, I highly doubt Bill Belichick is going to announce beforehand he's retiring. And look, even if he was, he's not going the LeBron route here, let's say. He's not going to let you know in advance. He's just going to get his team, try to get him ready.
He's not thirsty. He's not going to want any of that.
Yeah, but let's say, though, that it leaks out or something that he's retiring. If that's the case, what do you do as a Bills fan?
Nothing.
You don't applaud?
The answer is nothing.
I sure as heck don't want a scoreboard. Thanks for kicking our butt all those years.
Right?
Bill.
No. I mean, are there Bills fans out there that would actually appreciate the job that Bill Belichick has done while he's in Buffalo against the Bills? Would they stop down and stand up and clap their hands for that guy?
Danger, I was at the last game for Don Shula. We didn't know it at the time. The Bills beat the Dolphins in a wild card game. This was after the 4 straight Super Bowls. It would have been 95. Like at that point, honestly, it would have been maybe the Bills fans would have applauded, but we didn't know.
So nobody reacted because nobody knew. And I think that's, if you're trying to project what might happen on New Year's Eve when New England does come back to Buffalo and what might be Bill Belichick's last road game as the Patriots head coach, then that would be my expectations, that nothing will come of it. He doesn't want anything, and I don't think anything comes of it.
Danger, I know you've got your Francesa's coming up, and I know I have my own sports bar rule, and that is this: 1 call per week. But
Gene is the toughest bouncer in this city. You can't get into the sports bar if you've been here once already this week.
No, but this guy, like, he just walks past the ropes. You know, there's a line out in front.
You just give him a nod.
I do. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know what he wants to talk about. It's just like, Adam, you're serving our country. Adam, you always have amazing takes.
Adam from Irondequoit, not in Irondequoit. Adam from Irondequoit. What up, dude?
Hey, I know I got 2 in 1 week. It's been a minute. And it's ironic that you guys are talking about right now exactly what I wanted to bring up. I think that's why I called a little bit earlier than I normally do. And as you mentioned earlier, I have a take, and I never suck.
Never.
All right, let me start with my favorite football nuggets are first and foremost my Bills winning. But the close second is anything that makes the chowder heads from Boston choke on their shellfish. All right? A little bit of Maury Povich here. Bill Belichick. You are not the greatest coach of all time.
Yes.
It's the truth, and I don't even think he's in the top 5. All right? He's a good coach, no doubt. But tell me the Super Bowl he won without Tom. Tommy boy, where is it? No rings without Tom. All right? And let's be honest, he drafted him on a whim. He didn't know who he was getting, right? If he did, he wouldn't have drafted him in the 7th round, and he sure as hell wouldn't have been playing behind Drew Bledsoe. You could make an argument that Mo Lewis deserves as much credit as Belichick does for the run that Brady gave him. All right? Now we know why Belichick is always so grumpy. How happy would you be if you were the trophy husband of the greatest player of all time you accidentally drafted? All right? As I've stated before, I have no hate for Brady, save for the fact that I had to see him twice a year for the better part of 2 decades. All right? In the 3 seasons since Brady has left, 1 playoff appearance, and I was happy to witness as the Bills dunked on the Patriots with the most perfect playoff game of all time. All right, that's what we've seen since Brady has left New England. All right, for me, the criteria for a great coach is pretty simple. Right, get the absolute best out of the players that you have. Right, and you look at the number of quarterbacks just this year. Right, how many times? Look at you just mentioned it, Cleveland. Cleveland had 4 freaking quarterbacks this year, and they're in the playoff hunt. Tell me a time that New England has ever lost that much talent and still been competitive. They had 1 year when Brady got hurt. Mitchell came in. They made the playoffs. They still got bounced by Kansas City early, right? They're nothing without Brady, all right? I would put Andy Reid, Don Shula, and the last 3 head coaches of the Pittsburgh Steelers ahead of Hoodie up there, all right? Bill Cowher went to the Super Bowl with Neil O'Donnell as his quarterback. Mike Tomlin, granted, had Roethlisberger for most of his 16 years there. He's never had a losing season. And Roethlisberger, when he's not beating up his girlfriends or getting addicted to drugs, was never consistent the way that Belichick had quarterbacks for, all right? Bottom line, Billy has enjoyed 20 years of riding the wake of some SoCal greatness via Ann Arbor on the roll of the dice draft. And regardless of the outcome of this year for the Bills, I am sure, no doubt, that I will have at least the next 10 years to laugh at the most obnoxious fans in the NFL while they rue the day that Brady took south for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm out.
Just inhaling all of that. That is how it's done.
Now, does that cause you to rethink your take? Because I say he's the greatest. You say he's right behind Bill Walsh. He doesn't put him in the top 5. Was that what I heard?
So good. I know the end of the year is upon us. That's a Take of the Year nominee. Adam from Irondequoit absolutely eviscerating the Hoodie. We'll take it. I love it. Great call. That's a role model for everybody else. All you regulars, If you heard that and you're like, I don't know if I can call into the sports bar. It's because you hear that, you're like, there's no way I can do what that guy just did.
Yeah.
That was fantastic, Adam.
Yeah. And again, the one call per week, we do that so we don't, foster a Mr. NFL or Sam in Rochester.
Well,
or
we might get Adam Veronica. It might become that if he keeps coming in and bringing the heat properly.
No, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Like he gets the floor when he calls in.
Whew. The only thing that makes me upset now is I've got to try and top that with the Francesas.
No, what are the Francesas for people who aren't listening?
All right, so the 2023 Francesas are upon us. What are the Francesas? It all stemmed with this bit of audio gold from our Odyssey sports sister station, WFAN, in New York City, back in 2018 when Mike Francesa, the GOAT, was still on the air.
Eddie in Hoboken. What's up, Eddie?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's happening?
Hey, Mike, Stan Lee died today. Did you ever meet the guy? What do you think of him?
Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stan Lee.
I don't know who he
Stan
is.
Lee?
Don't know who he is, no.
Jesus.
Who is he? Who is he? Who is Stan Lee?
He was one of the creators of Marvel Comics.
Oh, who cares? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a comic book guy. Is that who he is, Stan Lee? The guy
He created Spider-Man. That was his big thing.
Created Spider-Man? Sorry. I never was a comic book reader as a kid. I apologize. Never.
All right, so from that...
Oh, who cares?
Stan Lee just showing an absolute disregard, a blissful ignorance for the passing of the legendary Stan Lee. So the Francesas are essentially the stories of 2023 that were overblown, that I remained kind of blissfully ignorant on, or that were just, made into something when they're really not anything at all. Basically, you hear the story and your first thought is,
oh, who cares?
And we talked about some of these we kind of bypassed, but let's get into the 2023 Francesas. Get some music here for the awards. We're going to start with TCU upsets Michigan in the college football playoff.
Oh, who cares?
Georgia blows out TCU in the college football championship.
Oh, who cares?
James Bradbury's pass interference in the Super Bowl.
Oh, who cares?
The XFL.
Oh, who cares?
The USFL.
Oh, who cares?
The Sabres don't lose in their goat head jerseys.
Oh, who cares?
Tom Brady retires.
Oh, who cares?
Jerry Springer died.
Oh, who cares?
Bryce Young goes number 1 overall in the NFL draft.
Oh, who cares?
Trey Lance.
Oh, who cares?
Kyler Murray.
Oh, who cares?
Deshaun Watson.
Oh, who cares?
Kellen Moore leaves Dallas.
Oh, who cares?
Eric Bieniemy leaves Kansas City.
Oh, who cares?
Sinead O'Connor died.
Oh, who cares?
Chinese spy balloons.
Oh, who cares?
AI is coming for your white-collar job.
Oh, who cares?
A Big East school won the men's basketball tournament.
Oh, who cares?
Caitlin Clark didn't win the women's basketball tournament.
Oh, who cares?
The Hollywood writers' strike.
Oh, who cares?
The Titan submersible.
Oh, who cares?
PGA Tour and Live Golf are merging.
Oh, who cares?
Canadian wildfires.
Oh, who cares?
Lionel Messi plays soccer in America.
Oh, who cares?
Inflation.
Oh, who cares?
U.S. women's national team doesn't win a World Cup.
Oh, who cares?
It's all Megan Rapinoe's fault.
Oh, who cares?
Stephon Diggs missing a day of minicamp.
Oh, who cares?
Sean McDermott lying about Stephon Diggs missing a day of minicamp.
Oh, who cares?
The Queen of England.
Oh, who cares?
The King of England.
Oh, who cares?
Aaron Rodgers signs with the Jets.
Oh, who cares?
Aaron Rodgers wants to debate Travis Kelce.
Oh, who cares?
Interest rates.
Oh, who cares?
The singer from Smash Mouth died.
Oh, who cares?
Barbenheimer.
Oh, who cares?
Trump's mugshot.
Oh, who cares?
Hunter Biden.
Oh, who cares?
The Pac-12 is dead.
Oh, who cares?
Twitter is now X.
Oh, who cares?
Sunday Ticket is on YouTube now.
Oh, who cares?
Deion Sanders beat TCU, Nebraska, and Colorado State.
Oh, who cares?
Kid Rock doesn't like Bud Light.
Oh, who cares?
The 49ers are good.
Oh, who cares?
John Rahm joins Live Golf.
Oh, who cares?
ESPN is now a sports book.
Oh, who cares?
The 49ers aren't good.
Oh, who cares?
The Tush Push.
Oh, who cares?
Sean McDermott character assassination.
Oh, who cares?
Ohtani signs the richest deal in North American sports history.
Oh, who cares?
The 49ers are good again.
Oh, who cares?
And finally, Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce.
Oh, who cares?
The 2023 Francesas.
What got into you? Are you okay? Like, that all happened this year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know that you have angered some people on these lists. I want explanation on 3 sports ones and 3 non-sports ones.
I'll do my best, but I might just reply with, who cares?
Okay.
All right?
Well, we spent all, I don't know, and Thursday, Friday talking about the McDermott, and that's still a hot topic, the McDermott character assassination.
Yeah.
Why does that land on the who cares?
Because it meant nothing. It was fine. They won the game. The next game they played, they won. And didn't you think that would become a rallying cry? Like, of course it's going to become a rallying cry.
Okay, so
who cares?
In that same kind of context then, I guess, because I was going to ask you, wait a second. McDermott lying about Steph Diggs and the blow-up, that's a story. Why is that a who cares?
Because it didn't mean anything. At the end of the day, it didn't mean anything. Steph Diggs showed up at training camp and everybody forgot about it. And there's still people out there that want to say that Steph Diggs is a problem for this team. Those people aren't paying attention. It's a giant Francesa.
Oh, who cares?
Okay, the other sports one I want to kind of challenge you on, because if there's a bunch of supposedly smart people that are college presidents and the Pac-12 blowing up, that's a big story, especially when the Pac-12, I would say, was the most entertaining conference this year, and it's dead now. It's dead.
A year from now, nobody will care.
Oh, who cares?
A year from now, it won't matter.
No, it will be like one of those DNC stories, like, oh, remember when Rochester, like, it'll be like, remember in the Pac. All right, you won me over on that one.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, and then 3 non-sports there. AI. Like, is that because you're blissfully ignorant, or like that's some scary ass there, AI? You're not interested in where this is headed?
I don't care.
You should care.
If AI is coming for my job, then I must not be very good at my job. Have it.
It's coming at a lot of people's jobs. We just don't see it yet.
Right. Look, I see it. This is one that I'll put under the category of I'm going to remain as blissfully ignorant for as long as I can.
Oh, who cares?
Okay. This impacted your life, my life. It forced me. I made the decision to actually wear a mask in June because I didn't want to breathe it in. The wildfires made the list? How did the Canadian wildfires? Why is that a Francesa?
We're all here.
Oh, who cares?
Anybody keel over from the California wildfires?
No, but I'm sure the people in California, it was up in Canada, dude.
If the people in Canada are listening right now and are offended by that, I'm sorry.
Oh, who cares?
You're going to be fine. Everybody's going to be fine.
Yeah, and then the last one, and I see why you would say this is a who cares, but anytime you have aliens who don't know what to do with their money, and you have some outfit like the Titan submersible with some parts from Home Depot, you're not fascinated by a story about that?
Oh, who cares?
Come on.
Giant Francesa.
Come on. No.
Giant.
The mystery of the Titan submersible, like you weren't wondering, oh my gosh, those aliens actually got stuck in the Titanic, and that's how they're going to go.
Yeah. For me.
Oh, who cares?
Like the first time I heard Titan submersible, I'm like, I don't know what that is.
No, that was riveting. That was a riveting storyline, Brian. On the wealth and the privilege.
I'm Gene Battaglia, and I'm going to watch true crime stories when I go home tonight and listen to podcasts about true crime because that's riveting. I don't care about the billionaires that went down. I mean, look, I don't want to see anybody lose their life, but when I hear about it, and I'm like, oh, well.
Oh, who cares?
Okay. Well, you didn't really do the research and you didn't really know what you were getting into and you paid all this money and you have all this money and you're kind of detached from reality and then that happens to you.
Oh, who cares?
I remain blissfully ignorant on that story. I feel horrible for the families who lost loved ones in the Titan submersible, but that story was a 0 for me. Absolute 0. Didn't care.
Cocaine Bear didn't make the list.
Was that this year?
That was this year. That was in March.
Yeah, because I still care about that one. I still want to. That's one I still have to. That one's on the list. That one's actually. That's on the actual list.
That's an actual. I didn't know there was an actual.
Yeah, that's on the actual list. I just, I got to try. It takes a little finesse to try and convince a family full of women that we should watch Cocaine Bear. Hey, let's all get together, gather around. We're going to watch Cocaine Bear tonight, ladies. Let's go. That takes some finesse. If I can pull that one off, I can sell you anything.
Okay. I didn't like it too much gore, but I'm soft. Family loved it.
Yeah.
Brought the kids. Yeah, they loved it.
I mean, it should be a family movie. Cocaine Bear. Movie about a bear who ingests cocaine and goes psycho.
Yeah.
What's not to love? That's not a Francesa. That doesn't make the list.
That's creative writing at its finest.
And that was before the Hollywood strike, which, of course, is...
Oh, who cares?
Are we okay? Everybody's all right, right? We survived the 4 months.
You realize how many people you offended by putting... Well, you went Barbenheimer, the Barbie movie. Like that, like a lot of people would say that's the great, that's your win.
I talked about it. I enjoyed the movie, but the hype, all of the hype around all of it, those two movies simultaneously at that time.
Oh, who cares?
I'm over it. I still haven't watched Oppenheimer. Partially because it's a Francesa to me.
Oh, who cares?
Chris writing in, Adam from Irondequoit is the greatest caller of all time. I think he's got the throne on the show.
Agreed.
I don't want to deter anybody else from calling.
No.
Like, 'cause honestly, you can't get to that level.
There's some contenders. There's some challengers. We've had some good calls. I think Matt in Rochester gives us some good calls.
Whenever Brad picks a spot, it's a take, it's an angle we haven't seen, and then he steps off. That's all we need. Like, hey, there's something you guys haven't thought of. Boom. And then you step off the mark. You've added something to Rochester.
Bill Belichick isn't a top 5 head coach all time. That's putting it out there. That is take of the year nominee worthy.
See, what I would add to that to kind of be like, if I'm going to be a lawyer presenting the case for that, you back it up, because what did they always say about Belichick? It was just like it was Parcells, actually.
Yeah,
right.
He stumbled into Tom Brady. He accidentally drafted the best quarterback of all time.
Well, if Tom Brady doesn't arrive, Bill Belichick is fired a year later, and he's coaching D3 lacrosse somewhere right now.
Fantastic call. All right, we're going to get back to the Bills and get a practice report from today. Sal Capaccio, WGR in Buffalo, stops by the Sports Bar next.
You're listening to the Sports Bar. Fan Rochester Sports Update.
AJ Epineza, Micah Hyde not practicing today, both on the injury report. Von Miller given a Veterans Day off. Sean McDermott knows this is a tough opponent.
They're explosive. I think they're very talented offense. I think well coached really across all three phases of their team with offense, defense, and special teams. And they're, as you've seen and you mentioned, they're hard to stop.
We will talk to Sal Capaccio about the Bills-Cowboys matchup coming up next year in the Sports Bar. We got hockey tonight. The Rochester Americans in Springfield. It's the first of 3 straight on the road. Don Stevens will be by at 7 o'clock. Sabres tonight in Colorado. Also the beginning of a 3-game road trip. 10 o'clock puck drop. TV side tonight, it's on TNT. Gene Battaglia in the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Top Shelf Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Standing by for Sal Capaccio from our Odyssey Sports sister station, WGR in Buffalo. You can hear Sal roaming the sidelines on game days of the Buffalo Bills radio network here on The Fan. Rochester is scheduled to join us here in a few while Gino tries to get Sal on the blower. Some headlines from around the NFL today announced that they're going to be adding a game in Brazil. That game will be added to the 2024 schedule with more international games coming in 2025. NFL owners in Dallas voted at the league meetings today to expand the international game inventory from 4 to up to 8 games per season, starting with the 2025 season. You'll have no team playing more than 1 game a year outside of North America unless they request additional games. And it's also been decided that each team designated to play in an international game will be permitted to select 2 regular season opponents who will not be scheduled for that game, and that no international games can be scheduled after week 14. Owners also voting today on the location of Super Bowl 61 to end the 2026 season and to be played in February of 2027, and it'll be SoFi Stadium that hosted Super Bowl 56. No issues with that game. You'll remember it well between the Rams and the Bengals, and there's no reason to believe that Los Angeles won't be hosting its second Super Bowl at SoFi come February 27. Spent some time earlier talking about the Tom Curran report out of New England that Patriots owner Robert Kraft has already decided to move on from Coach Bill Belichick, a decision that came after the Week 10 loss in Germany to the Colts. Today, Belichick was asked about it, and as expected, getting ready for Kansas City was all that Belichick would offer. And a couple of fantasy-relevant bits of news here. Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson saying that he will be in the lineup on Saturday. His anticipation here is he's taken on a full workload. The Vikings listed him as limited in yesterday's practice, and for what it's worth, it'll be Nick Mullins getting the start at quarterback for Minnesota against the Bengals on Saturday. He'll be the 4th starting quarterback this season for Minnesota. And one bit of AFC East news, pass rusher Melvin Ingram signing on with Miami. Ingram had some interest from the Browns this offseason, but he's been a free agent since he played for the Dolphins last season. The Dolphins looking for some defensive line depth with Jalen Phillips now on season-ending IR after he tore his Achilles. Nothing from Sal.
No, it's something's going on with our phone system here where we're both getting called failed. We tried it both ways. I just yelled at Derek here. Derek!
Yeah. Well, if we can get Sal on, that would be great. If not, we'll power through. What do you want to do, Gino? Call an audible here at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah. So nothing's working. I don't know if we could take a quick break and try to figure this out.
Yeah. Let's do that.
My apologies.
We can take a quick break here. We'll take you up to happy hour, and we'll do our best here over the course of the next few minutes to get Sal on so we can get the latest from Orchard Park and the Buffalo Bills practice report from today. This holiday season, all your wishes are coming true on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It's me, Mike Danger, for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 95.7 The Fan. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use, and you've got a wide range of betting options, everything from spreads to player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Mike, M-I-K-E, FanDuel.com/Mike, and join me this NFL season on FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the inside scoop from experts. AUDACY. Odyssey.
A holiday message from Jackson Hewitt.
'Twas the yikes before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, except Larry. See, the stockings weren't hung by the chimney with care, 'cause Larry's wallet was empty with no time to spare. So he went to Jackson Hewitt for a holiday loan, got money so fast he rejoiced and went home. Avoid the yikes before Christmas. Go to Jackson Hewitt before it's too late. Get up to $1,000 fast, minus the wait.
Early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Hey, this is Travis Kelce, NFL tight end and proud member of the Lowe's home team. Lowe's knows when you've got the best price, you've already won. That's why we offer the lowest price guarantee. If you find a better price online or in-store, we'll match it. Now you can score on the top brands from the Lowe's home team picks, like Scotts, LG, and DeWalt. So take on your projects with confidence. Lowe's is the exclusive home improvement retail partner of the NFL.
Price match applies to same item, current price of qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Stock up for the holidays at Market View Liquor. Check out their fine wines under $9.99. No one else comes close to Market View Liquor's selection and savings. Use Instacart or the Drizzly app for same-day delivery. Market View Liquor, Jefferson Road, Henrietta.
Market View. The Ide family of dealerships is locally owned, and when you do business with us, you're also supporting the hundreds of local organizations that we're part of. So when you're in the market, visit us at Ide Honda or Ide Volkswagen. We're here, we're local, and we'd love to earn your business.
DWI, who do you hire? Ask a cop, a judge, a friend. They'll say Ed Fiondoc. Better yet, ask someone who had a DWI. They'll say Ed Fiondoc, or I wish I had hired Ed Fiondoc. NYDWI.com.
Dashing through the snow to see the hottest girls. Oh my. Dancing every night at the tally ho. I'll make your bobtail ring. My derriere is tight. I'll put it on your lap at the tally ho tonight.
It's the Tally Ho for the holidays. Open daily from noon till 2 a.m. The holiday party is Thursday, December 21st.
The Tally Ho Gentlemen's Club, East Henrietta Road. What happens at the Tally Ho stays at the Tally Ho.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
This year, Staples wants everyone to have a happy Holla Deal. That's right, Holla Deal. Staples Holla Deals are amazing savings on hot holiday tech. Great prices on laptops, game systems, earbuds, and more. And now at Staples, you can save up to $350 on select PCs. During Staples Holla Deals, it's not about the fa-la-la. It's about saving moo-la-la. Save up to $350 on select PCs today at Staples. Ends 12/23. In-store only. See associate for details.
If your furnace stops working, don't get stuck in the cold. Call Crossfield Heating. Crossfield's available whenever you need them, round the clock, 24/7. Their highly trained service techs are always ready and always reliable. Best of all, Crossfield works on all makes and models. If your furnace needs repair, Crossfield can fix it. If you need a new one, you can count on the Crossfield team to help you. Call 872-4420 or crossfieldheating.com.
Quality service, people you can trust, loving that Crossfield feeling.
Braemar Country Club on West Ridge Road in Spencerport is now offering holiday gift cards perfect for the golfer on your shopping list. Practice all winter with their indoor golf simulators and sign up now for 2024 leagues. That's Braemar Country Club. Find out more at BraemarCC.com.
Odyssey has sports for every fan. Keep up with your favorite teams from across the country and get the inside scoop from experts. AUDACY. Odyssey.
Golisano Institute for Business and Entrepreneurship is business education as it should be. Earn a professional certificate in business and entrepreneurship in just 2 years and open up a world of opportunities, not a world of debt. Whether you want to land a high-quality job, start a business, or continue on to a bachelor's degree, we'll get you there for just $8,900 a year. Apply today at golisanoinstitute.org.
Debbie Supplies on Commercial Street in East Rochester, right off the 490. Heating, hardware, paint, plumbing, electrical, you name it, Debbie Supply has it. Plus a friendly, knowledgeable staff that can show you how to get that home improvement project done. Since 1957. Your next home improvement project, think outside the box and head on over to Debbie Supply, Commercial Street, East Rochester.
Inside and out, for folks who know what they're talking about. Gotta go to Debbie. Gotta go to Debbie Supply for that.
Paid actors represent actual clients.
When a car hit me, I called my attorneys at the Barnes firm. They got me $2 million, 40 times more than the insurance offered.
Hi, I'm Rich Barnes. What's your case really worth? Call the Barnes firm now. You might be surprised.
After my car accident, I didn't know if I had a case. So I called my attorneys at the Barnes firm. They got me $600,000.
Do you have a case? Call our Rochester office now and find out.
Past results don't predict future outcomes.
Sal, are you there?
Paid actors represent actual clients.
After my car accident, I didn't know if I had a case, so I called my attorneys at the Barnes firm. My case was worth $1.2 million.
Hi, I'm Rich Barnes. Do you have a case? Call the Barnes firm now. You might be surprised.
After my job accident, my attorneys at the Barnes firm settled my case for 11 times more than insurance said they would.
AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
I mean, you would be impressed if you saw Gino and I and Derek the Pizza Dude rubbing our brain cells together, trying to find a way to connect with Sal Capaccio in Buffalo right now.
Well, this is the plan. We're going to the alternate method, and maybe we'll just all of a sudden hear Sal just kind of come up through the board at some point.
I don't know.
But
Sal, Sal's not there right now.
Like, you know what happened? Adam called in, so we know the phones were working at around 4:10.
He blew them up.
That's it.
Adam scorched 866-4FAN. It's no longer in service.
Yeah, if you call 866-4FAN right now, you're not going to get anything.
Yeah,
so.
I'm wondering what it was. It was all Adam. Adam came in, dropped so much heat, he singed the line. Nothing is working. So, well, we're going to continue to try and get Sal on because I think that would be important information for Bills fans to hear today. We get the first injury report of the week, and we had the Bills on the practice field for the first time this week as well, all in advance of Sunday afternoon's matchup against the Cowboys at Highmark Stadium. So if we can get Sal on here before we close up shop, great. If not, we'll try to get Sal on here before the week is up. Spent some time earlier talking about next week in the sports bar, a short week as we ramp up to the holiday season. And take of the year will happen next week. Boy, Adam and Irondequoit earlier made his volley for take of the year. Bill Belichick isn't a top 5 all-time head coach. Another one that we've talked about, we've referenced it a couple of times over the course of the last few weeks. She's the co-host of the morning show here on the Fan Rochester, Maggie and Perloff. Maggie Gray is Bill's Mafia. She came by a couple of months ago, and we asked her about the Buffalo Bills. And it was at a time where the Bills were kind of, as they've been for most of the season, a little inconsistent. This is pre-Dorsey firing, by the way. Maggie Gray dropped this Take of the Year nominee.
Is it mental? Man, I hope not. Because if it is, that means that solidifies probably something that maybe Bills fans and maybe the organization doesn't want to face, which is the 13 seconds game might have been the best shot. And I'm not willing to say yet that they're not going to have another great shot at this and that they're not going to have learned from those mistakes in that game and can be better for it. I'm not giving up. This hasn't beaten me down yet. Hell, we're Bills fans. We've been through worse. And I think if a few things can break right and they can start peaking at the right time at the end of the season, why not the Bills, really? I mean, we have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We still have a great defense despite some of the injuries. I'm saying we now, like I'm suiting up for the team. But I'm still with this team.
Take of the Year nominee. Not only a great take, but also a great projection. I mean, at that time, we were asking her if Josh Allen's mistakes were mental, if the team's mistakes were mental, the head coach. And Maggie's take is, boy, if that's true, then the best we're going to be able to get is that 13-second game, and the window is closing. But we're not writing them off yet, and here they are now. They feel like they're going to go on a run where they could be peaking at the right time with the postseason on the horizon.
Yeah, it's, gosh, she's going to win that, right? I know you want me.
No, the Take of the Year is Jack isn't a real name, authored by Gene Battaglia. That's the Take of the Year, in my opinion.
So tomorrow's going to be the day where Shohei Ohtani meets the media he already kind of knows, sort of. Well, actually, no. Like, the Angel media, like, nobody from L.A. goes down to Anaheim unless the Dodgers are playing down in Anaheim. But Ohtani will be introduced as the new star of the L.A. Dodgers. Now comes some contract details, Mike Danger, if I can share here. Shohei Ohtani, as part of this deal, he gets an interpreter. So he gets somebody to walk around with him. Not a surprise. He gets a suite at Dodger Stadium. Okay, a lot of players get that, right? And you want to entertain clients, family, whatever. This is the one that everybody's kind of scratching their head in the contract. If specific change in Dodger personnel, player may opt out of contract at end of season if the change occurs.
If there's a change in player personnel?
He's got a voice in player personnel? I've never heard of such a thing.
Or is that as simple as we're moving on from Dave Roberts? I don't want any other manager. I don't want to work for that guy. I don't want to play for that guy. I'm gonna leave.
Yeah,
that's a pretty strong item in his contract there. A pretty strong clause in his contract to be able to say, I can walk away if I don't like what's going on, which is essentially what that says, right?
You're the general manager. We joke about this with some other, but like if you are taking so few dollars and $2 million is the biggest bargain all time. Yes, the money's deferred on the back end, blah, blah, blah. They gave him a bunch of power if that's the case. Now, I just want to know, like, could it be Dodger personnel? Maybe it's the chef. Maybe, I don't know, but you're providing in there some sort of opt-out when really there shouldn't be, right? According to various reports, the Giants were offering the same dollars. Toronto was kind of in the ballpark. The Yankees were also there. And this is the kicker on the story, Danger. Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, was offended that the agents for Shohei Ohtani did not call him. It's not the way it works, right? Like, if you want a free agent, you pick up the phone, let's have a conversation. You need to call me?
Oh, damn, that's good. Aliens, Gino. They're just freaking aliens. I'm Steve Cohen. The world revolves around me. If you want $700 million, you better reach out to me. I'm not going to go after you. That is awesome. I thought you were going to say Steve Cohen and the Mets weren't entertaining it because he was too busy going after Yamamoto, and he was in Japan at the time that all this broke down.
Yeah, we're still waiting on where Yamamoto will be going.
That'll be another domino to fall in free agency for baseball. Another good player that could end up with the Yankees.
I said that like way back when, right when the season ended. If you got Soto and you got Yamamoto,
look out.
Yankee fans should be fine with that.
Yeah.
You're the team in the American League.
No question.
If you can pair somebody with Garrett Cole, and it's not on Cole's shoulders every 5 days.
Hey, I want to go back to something we were just discussing in our NFL headlines there. The fact that the NFL is ramping up their international program. More international games coming in 2025. A game in Brazil next year. NFL players in Brazil, what could go wrong?
Yeah, we're entering, right? We just know this from the Olympics that there were security concerns, right? So it's a quick in and out, but then again, they did a game in Mexico. Same sort of concerns.
I know this is all about money. It's all about expanding the brand. It's all about making the game more international. But is there also a hidden kind of agenda here if you're the NFL, knowing that you don't have the well of players that you used to have, homegrown players,
of course,
American players, that if you can pluck a prospect or two, a big German guy to be a lineman, or somebody in South America who's got some speed, you know what I mean? Like, it goes beyond just the making it a global brand and making the game more internationally known. I think it's also, in a way, the NFL's attempt at widening the talent pool, because less and less American kids have moms who are willing to say, yeah, go bash your head in and play football.
Well, it's also this danger, and let's just take a look at baseball, because you have this player from Korea coming over to the Giants. You have this pool that's bigger than ever right now, and I'm like, baseball has a history of racism, right? We're all xenophobes, right? Like, we don't want anybody from the outside playing. Well, you know, the game is way better when you have talent coming from every direction. And Shohei Ohtani, and maybe this player from Korea will become the next big thing for the San Francisco Giants. Who's to know? Like, when we have a first international star come into the NFL, and that may not be for a decade or two. We may have to wait a while, and it'd be kind of hard without sort of a feeder system, if you will. I mean, they've been playing, in Asia baseball how long here? But could you get these countries to actually convert to our style of football? I think that would be fantastic, and I think that would be the dream of the NFL at this point. So where you're saying, like, hey, could we get, some different talent pools? They just don't have the feeder systems. I think this is just as simple as we can get our games and we can make some money going over. Like, the money is over in Europe. There's some in South America. That you want to grow your revenue, go outside the borders here. Very simple.
We've extracted all that we can between the U.S. borders, so let's go and get more money globally. That's how they become a global brand. Good for them.
And if you're wondering, wow, does this mean the Buffalo Bills will play in Brazil next year? The answer is no, because look how they structured it this year, and it's smart by the NFL. This was the year the AFC had the 9 home games as opposed to 8. Well, when you have 9, you're going to be in that lottery to go overseas, and every team that was involved going over to either England or Germany this year was from the AFC. So it's expected next year, well, it's going to be the NFC's turn. And highly unlikely, in my opinion, that the Buffalo Bills are going to get tapped here.
No surprise to hear that Super Bowl 61 will be back in L.A. at SoFi Stadium. I mean, let's face it, when you built that palace, you know it was going to house multiple Super Bowls, and it just hosted Super Bowl 56 between the Rams and the Bengals with no hiccups, no reason to believe that Los Angeles wouldn't host another Super Bowl at SoFi. The owners met on that today and voted on that today. So that'll be in February of 2027. And we spent some time earlier, and Adam from Irondequoit came in here and brought it. He knew we were talking about Bill Belichick and this report from Tom Curran that the Patriots have already moved on, that they're ready to move on from Bill Belichick. The decision was made after the loss in Germany to Indianapolis. I love Adam from Irondequoit's call and talking about Belichick and what it all means. And we were kind of wondering if his final road game as the Patriots head coach is New Year's Eve in Buffalo, how would Bills fans react to that? And my thing is they wouldn't. They're just not going to react to that.
No. Okay, a couple notes here. Note number one, we will not have Sal Capaccio today, so we'll try to rebook him at some point. And if you're trying to call us right now, well, right now our phones are down. So our behind the scenes, Derek working on this very feverishly. And then this story to come out today out of Buffalo, Danger. And tell me if this changes the story for you. I know it's going to change the story for a lot of people, but I'm not going to tell you who the player is I'm talking about. But what if I told you there was a player, Buffalo Bills training camp, that got hurt, but continued to play on? And yeah, that shouldn't be a surprise. A lot of these guys play with injuries, right? But this player has been a target for Bills fans. And it kind of coming across like, are the coaches really behind this? Today we learned that during training camp, Kaiir Elam tore an ankle, tore a ligament in his ankle.
In training camp?
In training camp.
Okay.
And has been playing through this. That would make sense why he wasn't active week one if he was kind of hurt. I guess my question would be, did they kind of botch this? Like, if you had an opportunity, maybe put him IR back then. Why try to play through this?
Why did we not hear about it? Did we hear about it? Was this I'm trying to remember if that was an injury that we knew about during training camp.
No.
When Terrell Bernard got hurt at the end of training camp, we knew about it. We'd heard about it. We didn't get to see him at all in the preseason. We didn't really know what Terrell Bernard was going to be. The Bills, and look, the Bills are probably doing what every NFL team does to some degree, just playing around with those injury reports.
Well, if you are game planning and you're Aaron Rodgers, right, I could see maybe, and it's funny to think that what was the mindset of everybody week one here, but Aaron Rodgers looking at tape of Kaiir Elam and Dane Jackson and, okay, who am I actually going to face? He was never going to face Kaiir Elam because he wasn't healthy. The fact is this, Danger. The Buffalo Bills should be fine. Kaiir Elam was not on that week one injury report. Week one, the inactives come out, we're all like, whoa, where did that come from? Kaiir Elam, your first-round pick, and now all of a sudden the guy looks like a bust. The Bills didn't do him right if this is true.
Did anything come of the Joe Burrow wrist wrap before the game where he kind of mysteriously a week later, like nobody's talking about that, or a couple of weeks later, the idea that he was injured, his wrist was injured, but he never showed up on the injury report.
So that was the leading into that primetime game in Buffalo, what you're talking about. He gets hurt that night. But as many teams do, they do their social media hype videos, and here's the Bengals. They're all fired up walking in the stadium.
Was it the Buffalo game or the game after Buffalo?
That was the game after Buffalo.
Yeah, the week after Buffalo.
Yeah, because so Joe Burrow tore the Bills off that night.
But they didn't have there hasn't been any kind of like follow-up story on that. Like nobody has talked about the Bengals being fined or getting a slap on the wrist.
Well, okay, so you did the Francesas earlier.
Yeah.
And like injury reports, who cares?
Yeah. Our NFL injury reports.
Oh, who cares?
No, betting, money, we should care. Yes. You should know if Joe Burrow's hurt. In that sense, if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you should know if Kaiir Elam's hurt. I'm the agent of Kaiir Elam. I'm screaming murder. My client is hurt. Yet you're kind of painting this picture of him being a bust. When he's actually hurt.
I don't know that the Bills are painting the picture of him actually being a bust, because nobody's out there saying Kaiir Elam isn't good at his job. Their actions paint him as a bust by making him inactive and not disclosing that he's not right.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You're indirect. Nobody from Buffalo is saying he's a bust, but you're leading people in that direction. Like, why isn't he active? He's a first-round pick.
But there's also the NFL football guy macho thing of you can play through that. You can play through that. You're okay. You're a warrior. Get out there and give it your best. And if you can't do it, we'll just make you inactive. And it feels like that's kind of how it went, right? Or maybe it was Kyrie Elam saying, no, I'm going to go. I can go when you can't go.
There's also the possibility that, and players will do this, he kind of hid the injury. Maybe that's also part of this story, too. And then I truly think it was, my gosh, we're playing the Jets week 1. This is the team that's coming for us. Funny to think that right now, but Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback at that point. What can we do here? We don't need to tell him who's going to be at quarterback. We want him guessing.
So Elam didn't return to practice this week, right? He's not back at practice?
No, he's back at practice. It's that 3-week window.
Okay.
So Knox got activated. Elam not activated. They're going to have to make a decision next week heading into the Charger game, whether he's on the 53 or not. And if they don't activate him, well, then you go back on IR and you're never heard from again this season.
I got a text earlier from one of my neighbors, Richie C. You hear me talk about my neighbors every now and then. Richie C. sent me a text on the secret text.
He's Italian, too.
Of course he sent me a text because he's Italian. He wants to know what's up with Touchdown Lenny. I think Touchdown Lenny wants to know what's up with Touchdown Lenny.
I think Leonard Fournette has been kind of a model here in terms of like not saying anything on social media, just doing your job. And remember, when you're in the practice squad, you only get 3 elevations.
There's a couple of cryptic tweets that might show a little displeasure. But
one that was my time is coming. Okay, I don't think that's displeasure.
No, there was one last week where I think he just said, I just want a ball or something like that. Like I don't think that there's any risk of it boiling over. He's on the practice squad, and if a team really wanted him, they could get him. Like we just saw it happen with Malik Cunningham and the Patriots. Like Baltimore sold him on the idea of leaving the Patriots practice squad, signing with Baltimore. He did.
Yeah, like any team. There's teams with running back injury situations. Look at Green Bay, for instance. Any team could sign Leonard Fournette right now. I'm just putting it out there, though. Like, that's a more accomplished running back than Ty Johnson. That's a more accomplished running back than Latavius Murray.
Does he know the system? Does he know his assignments?
He's been here a month now.
That's the question, though. That's what we don't know. What we don't know is, will Leonard Fournette, know his blocking assignment on any play that he's out there? Does he know the playbook?
What I would say to Richie C, though, is you're talking about really, it's not even a 1A to a 1B. Like, James Cook should be your 1.
No question.
Again, I'm going to continue to hammer this stat because you hear it and you're like, no, you're lying. That's fake. No, it's not fake. James Cook right now is 9 yards behind Travis Etienne. There's only one other guy that's ahead of the two of them. That's Christian McCaffrey. James Cook is number 3 in the league right now in scrimmage yards. What more could you ask for out of a Buffalo Bills running back? If I said that at the beginning of the year, hey, James Cook is going to be top 3 in scrimmage yards. Woo! Yeah, we're going to be the number 1 seed. So what gives here?
It's been quiet, and it's been consistent, and it's come with only a handful of splash plays. He's been fantastic. And they haven't overused him.
Here's the thing. The splash plays, well, that's your snapshots here. What are the 2 snapshots of James Cook this year? The Bronco game and the Eagle game. 2 big mistakes. And one of them actually earned him a seat on the bench. And had that not happened, would that have been a different outcome? And the drop, certainly, and he caught that. Who knows how that game turns out.
Yeah. More from today's practice on the way next. Happy hour in the sports bar. We have time for your calls. Well, our phone lines, I think, are still down, right?
No, they're down. So,
Derek,
like, tweet or X us. What do you want to say? Post.
At the Fan Rochester, if you want to hit us up on Elon's Twitter, that's X. We'll get to a round of shots as well. And we'll continue to dive into Bills Cowboys coming up Sunday afternoon, a game you'll be able to hear on the Fan with our pregame coverage starting at noon on Sunday. You're in the sports bar, Danger and Battaglia. Happy hour next.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. W239BF Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
A.J. Epineza and Micah Hyde did not practice for the Buffalo Bills today. Von Miller given a Veterans Day off. Bills and Cowboys this week. Lots of talent in Dallas. Sean McDermott on facing Micah Parsons.
Unique. I think that's the best way to describe them. It's very talented, obviously athletic. They line them up all over the place, on the line of scrimmage, off the line of scrimmage. So I think Coach Quinn does a great job of being creative with those looks.
Our pregame coverage Sunday will begin at noon, 4:25, the kickoff here on the Fan Rochester. Now tonight we got the Amherst, first of 3 straight on the road. They're in Springfield. Don Stevens will be by at 7 o'clock with the call. Sabres hockey in Colorado tonight, 10 o'clock for the puck drop. TV side, it's going to be on TNT tonight. Gene Battaglia and the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, the Fan Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
They're explosive, very talented offense.
You got to get Dak confused because right now he is firing on all cylinders.
You have to affect him, and they have a really good offensive line, so that's hard. But you got to turn the ball over somehow.
Mike Danger.
A win on Sunday against Dallas would certainly help the Bills' odds of making sure that Week 18 game is meaningful, and it's going to be a challenge.
Gene Battaglia.
Beat Dallas and then one slip up from the Dolphins. Would the Buffalo Bills suddenly be the most dangerous team in the AFC playoffs if they made it?
Yes. The answer is yes.
New York quarterbacks Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson are the NFC and AFC Offensive Players of the Week.
Because he's Italian!
New England, Bill Belichick, they're going to move on at the end of the year.
The NFL is headed to Brazil.
Draymond's fist versus Yusuf Nurkic's face. Nikola Jokic got the boot just before halftime in Chicago for cursing at an official.
We'll talk some Sabres, we'll talk some Amherst.
Hockey! 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Nice little measuring stick game for the Sabres tonight in Colorado. You want to see if you belong, if you're a postseason caliber team, and you've played better here the last few games, do it in Colorado. That's exciting.
It's a team that the Sabres won on the road there last year. UPL getting the win there last year. The one Sabre note from today, the kid Benson, he's not going to be going to juniors, nor should he to the World Juniors coming up in 2 weeks.
No,
Dave, while you were on your COVID thing, I would say as far as who cares and a Francesa, if I may add one to the list here, the World Hockey Juniors.
Oh, who cares?
In Canada, it's a big deal, and here it's I don't. Yeah.
In Buffalo, it's a big deal.
No, it's not in Buffalo.
I think it is.
I can tell you it's not, because when it was there, they couldn't draw. It'll never be back in Buffalo.
Hockey fans in Buffalo, it feels like they're so vocal.
There you go. Hockey fans in Buffalo are vocal, just like NASCAR fans are vocal and soccer fans are vocal. And that's great that you're vocal and very passionate. I don't think it's representative of... I would say Sabre fans are more vocal than Bills fans, by and large. This is more Bills fan.
If you're wondering what Gene is talking about, that's a Francesa.
Oh, who cares?
That's how we dub things that Mike Francesa doesn't care. Stan Lee dies, Francesa doesn't care. So if you have something in the world of sports or something in your life that is a zero for you, it's a giant Francesa.
Oh, who cares?
And I gave my 2023 Francesa awards about an hour ago here in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia. What are we doing on the video stream right now?
Just turned it on Derek.
This is insane.
There's Derek. You want to know what Pizza Dude looks like? I just turned the camera on him.
We are, Derek knows what college radio is all about. This feels like WMCC right now. Derek's working hard, doing his best to get us back online with our phone system at 866-4326-585, 866-4FAN.
It's good. You're good now. Thank you. Yeah, it's fine.
And if you're watching the video stream at the Fan Rochester on YouTube and Twitch, you can see the insanity behind Gene Battaglia over there. No producer on this show.
No.
Just you and I.
So to kind of review, Adam from Aronicoy, one of the best calls we've had all year, I'd have to say. And that broke our phone system. we're on one of these digital phone systems, and all of a sudden we couldn't figure it out. So our apologies for Sal Capaccio. We'll get that rescheduled at some point.
Now, are we up?
We're up.
We're up.
You can give us a. That's what Derek was here. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. If you want to call here this hour, do it now. Now I can say this. Alan Porgashevsky will join us. Now, who's he? He is an accountant, but he's got a unique position. He's Rochester-based. I've known him for years. You got to meet him, too.
It's the best.
He works with sports agents. We can't tell you who, okay? But trust me. And what he does for the sports agents, he just does it as an accountant. For example, hey, this offer, it's actually worth this much money in California versus this other offer you have in the state of Texas.
Numbers guy, tax guy.
Right. So this Ohtani contract, I hate when people say most unique. No, most unique means one of a kind. You can't compare it, so it can't be most. The Ohtani contract is unique. In fact, $700 million, $680 million deferred. We're figuring, is that good for the team? Is that good for the player? What about the state of California? Alan is so passionate about this, so I figured that'd be a fun conversation.
Yeah, I can't wait. So we'll get Alan on for us here coming up later on this hour during Last Call, and we'll get his take on the Ohtani deal and the decision to have all of that money deferred to the end of the deal, which is something we've never seen before. Dare I say, unique. A round of shots coming up as well. And now that our phone lines are up, you can join us at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326. And I hope everybody checking out the stream enjoyed that little treat. Derek the Pizza Dude in our studio, working his ass off to get us back online.
Yes. Look, we could talk Bills, Cowboys, certainly not practicing today. Epineza, Micah Hyde, Von Miller, Veterans Day arrest. I am interested here in the story out of Boston. Bill Belichick reported by Tom Curran last night that Robert Kraft, apparently after that loss in Germany to the Colts, made his decision. That's it. We're going to move on from Bill Belichick after this season. Whether the coach knows that or not, whether this is actually true, well, Bill Belichick, of course, it's Wednesday, and he's got to talk about the next opponent. He was grilled on this today, and all he repeatedly kept saying is, we're just getting ready for Kansas City. We're just getting ready for Kansas City.
Yeah.
Mike Danger, are you buying this, the fact that Bill Belichick, the time may actually be up and the Patriots are letting do the honorable thing, just coach out the season?
I don't know that I'm buying it.
I am, for a couple of reasons. One, you can't fire Bill Belichick in season.
No.
After all he does, that's a humiliating, get the bleep out of here
I was going to say you could stop at saying you just can't fire Bill Belichick. Like, I don't know that they can fire Bill Belichick.
Fair. That's a fair. But the behavior of Bill Belichick and the things that have happened with the Patriots in the last couple of weeks. First, that unexpected win where they were actually kind of fun and loose against the Steelers.
Can't fire him for that.
No. What about then him Bill Belichick never in season would show up on College game day, but yet there he was for the Army-Navy game. Personable.
Maybe he was interviewing. Maybe he took time away from his interviewing schedule to stop by College game day. I don't know. I don't think you can fire him. I think it's got to be on Bill's terms. And I think Robert Kraft knows that. He could say, or the report can say, that he's made up his mind. It might be, even if the season comes to an end and the Patriots do end up moving on from Bill Belichick, it won't appear to us that he was fired.
No, they won't even go to the relieved of his duties. That's the euphemism that people use for fired. No, like it won't be any of that. Like, hey, we're mutually parting ways, and we wish Coach the best. There's been speculation from Florio and others like, wow, there's the owner in Washington or the owner in Carolina. They could trade. That would never happen, and here's why. Bill Belichick has earned the right. If he wants to work somewhere else, you can let him choose where he wants to work. You know, not going to you're going to trade him to Washington, and all of a sudden you could trade a player. Very rarely do you trade a coach. Well, what about John Gruden? John Gruden wanted to go to Tampa, and Al Davis wouldn't let him go, so they had to work out terms. Like right now, I don't know what Bill Belichick is thinking. He could spend a whole year on Nantucket and say, I
can tell you what he's thinking. He's thinking about Kansas City. That's what he's thinking right now. When he says that, I actually believe it. Now, maybe somewhere in the back of his mind during a quiet time of the week, he allows the whisper of what's next to enter his mind. But this is classic Belichick. It's always been Belichick. He's not going to entertain things that are out of his control. All he can control is the outcome on Sunday. That's what he's going to do. That's Bill Belichick. Not one of the 5 greatest coaches of all time, according to Adam from Irondequoit, who joined us last hour with his Take of the Year nominee. My God. I mean, I thought, you think I was crazy for saying Bill Walsh was a better head coach all time.
I didn't think you were crazy. I think it's debatable. And I think it's, come on, Adam. He's one of the top 5 of all time.
It's
He's the
Bill
best.
Cowher in front of him. Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin in front of Bill Belichick. That's rich. That is Andy Reid, Bill Walsh, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, all ahead of Bill Belichick for greatest head coach of all time in the NFL. That's the stumbling into Tom Brady effect that Adam described. Unbelievable. The thing that's scary about the current situation with the New England Patriots, and you saw a little bit of it in that Steeler game. And I know I watched it so you didn't have to. I know a lot of people didn't want to watch that game. Ugly game, right? Bailey Zappi versus Mitch Trubisky, my friend. But the Patriots played loose. They did to Pittsburgh what I think Pittsburgh wanted to do to New England. I'm curious about what the Patriots and Chiefs look like this weekend, given what we just saw from both teams. And I'm also nervous, as I think a lot of Bills fans are, that game against New England that we all think on New Year's Eve is going to be a layup may not be a layup. Now, there have certainly been times in the last couple of years where the Bills have had their way with New England. But then you go back, you don't have to go back far, go back a few weeks, and you remember, oh, yeah, that's right. Mac Jones got over on the Bills. How did Mac Jones get over on the Bills? And how much is that going to affect the outcome of this season if you're the Buffalo Bills? You can't let that happen again, can you? Ugh. If that were to happen on New Year's Eve, the Patriots come into Orchard Park and ruin the Bills' chances of making the postseason.
Okay, so what could inspire Bill Belichick, pregame speech? Guys, this is the last game I'll ever coach on the road, and I love you, and you mean so much to me. Would that fire up the team?
I mean, that puts an added layer of pressure on the team, which I'm sure Bill Belichick doesn't want to do. I don't think he's ever wanted to do that. It's never been about Bill Belichick. He's never really made it about himself. So you got to give him credit for that. I don't know. I mean, maybe the rallying cry here is as simple as it's not Mac Jones behind center, and the guys are a little bit more fired up for that. They're not going anywhere this year, but it's an interesting storyline to follow for the rest of the year, the New England Patriots.
Our phone number, 866-4326, 866-4FAN. Kurt in Rochester has a question.
What up, Kurt?
Hey, so Belichick's like 71 years old, right? Why isn't he just talking about retirement at the end of this year instead of moving on to another team? What's his ego saying to him that he has to move on to another team if that's what he does?
Yeah, I don't know that that's what he's talking about, though. And I don't think that that's anything that's ever been brought up. I mean, you've heard speculation that he would actually go coach, like we were joking, that he would go coach D3 lacrosse. Like, I think he would go coach D3 lacrosse. I don't think that it matters to him. I think he would go.
Well, here's what we know about Belichick. He collected in like 1930s, 40s, loves collecting those football cards. Well, who does that and why? Kurt, thanks for the call. Who would do that? Well, somebody who loves football. He loves football history, like really, really loves history. You don't mean to tell me that mark means anything. We've talked to guys over the years out in New England how he's chasing the Don Shula record. And it would be very hollow, like if he showed up in Carolina or Washington, or people are linking him to actually the Chargers.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Like, could you imagine Belichick in L.A.? Well, I could, and here's why. Because where do the Chargers rank right now in relevancy in L.A.? Well, I can tell you it's the Lakers won, and forever be the Lakers won in our lifetime. And, well, you could say the Dodgers with Ohtani, and we'll go down the list. Okay, I'm at USC football. I'm at UCLA football. I'm at the soccer team there. What's it called there? The Chargers are way down on the list. That's being the point. You got to fight for relevancy. You need a star in a town full of stars.
Yeah. Again, Belichick would never be the person to say, I'm chasing that record. What you're saying makes a lot of sense. And if there is ego there, and of course there's ego there, but he's not going to let you see it. We probably will never see it because behind closed doors, I imagine that there is a lot of, after everything I've done, this is how it's going to end. Are you kidding me? Send me somewhere where I can get this record, or send me somewhere where I can continue to coach.
Patriots are getting 9.5 in Kansas City this week. See, the Patriot defense is actually very good. It's just their offense is so completely inept. Can they muck it up long enough for them to cover?
After what you saw out of Kansas City against the Bills last week, do you think they deserve to be 9-point favorites against anyone? The Chiefs are reeling right now. 2 straight losses. Yeah, I mean, that feels like a lot of points to give any team against a Kansas City team that offensively can't get out of their own way. I'll listen to that. I'll listen to Patriots with the points this weekend against the Chiefs. I'll listen to that.
Tom has a couple points. He's calling in from Gates. Tom, first let's start on Belichick. What's your point on Belichick?
I don't know. Listening to you guys, what do you think about ending up with the Giants running defensive?
Running the defense for the Giants?
Yeah.
No, he's not working. No, he's not. Bill Belichick. No, he's not working under like another head coach.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Dable's pretty good offensively. Offensive minded. I mean, their defense isn't the great. I don't know. I mean, it was it was just a stab. But then,
No. Stephen A. disagrees.
I knew I could get under your skin.
Yeah.
Like I'm setting you up like a crock pot. But secondly, what's up with Leonard Fournette? Did he go on vacation, or is he still in the Bills' plans?
Yeah, it's funny. We were just talking about that a few minutes ago. Thanks for the call. Yeah, Richie C texted me the same thing. When are we going to see Touchdown Lenny? Everybody wants to see Leonard Fournette. So the rule is you only get 3 call-ups of the practice squad before you can make him active.
Right. You'd have to add him to the 53, and by adding him to the 53, well, then you've got to cut somebody. Like, we didn't even talk about this. A.J. Klein got cut. Oh, well, they had to find a spot for Dawson Knox, so let's,
Right.
So
he's a luxury right now for the Buffalo Bills. Damian Harris is going to come back off of injured reserve. And could you imagine a playoff roster, if they make the postseason, a playoff roster at running back with James Cook 1, Latavius Murray 2, and then you're trying to figure out what you're going to do about Damian Harris and or Leonard Fournette? I mean, Ty Johnson is sneaky because I think Ty Johnson, having been here now longer than Leonard Fournette, has the advantage and has built more trust, which I think is all that this comes down to. Can Leonard Fournette protect the way the Bills want him to protect? That is coach's catnip. If we focus on the stats, we focus on yards per carry, we focus on how does he look catching the ball out of the backfield. Last time we saw Leonard Fournette, he looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about that. You're going to pick up that blitz? You're going to protect our quarterback when we need you to? If you can't do that, if you can't grasp the playbook, then we will stash you on the practice squad forever. And I don't know what goes on at practice or what their thoughts are on Fournette and how he's practiced up to this point, but he hasn't been active. And if he hasn't been active, there's probably a pretty good reason for it.
Well, this might be a good week to call him up, though, right? Wouldn't this be the unexpected? Like
you have three call-ups. I wouldn't do it against Dallas. I think I would do it against the Chargers and the Patriots to see.
Patriots you don't need. You'll be able to. It'll be a party that day. It's going to be, you know what it's going to be. Ding dong, Belichick is dead. Woo, yay.
I don't know.
Like, here it is. Okay, goodbye. Like, at least people will, it'll be a party atmosphere. Well, we wish you well, Bill.
I don't think anybody cares. I think if that's his last road game, I don't think Bills fans I don't think I think that's their giant Francesa.
Oh, who cares?
Oh, it's Bill Belichick's last road game as a Patriots head coach.
Oh, who cares?
Are you a Bills fan that wants to stand and salute that? No. Get out. Okay. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, you fraud. All that said, I'm not going to dismiss that game and say, oh, that's an easy W for the Bills. I can't. Not based on what we saw earlier this year, not based on what the Patriots have shown that they can do at times this season. They're not as talented a team, but they are well coached. And there's a chance that if in a season where Mac Jones beat your defense, there's a chance Bailey Zappi could do the same thing. The NFL is wild, man. It is wild. Nothing is guaranteed.
Let's get to a round of shots here, Danger.
Okay.
As some of the stories, hey, the Sabres are playing tonight. It's a little later here, but it's an interesting twist, a little homecoming action here. What's going on with the opponent here for the Amerks tonight? We got a new head coach. We'll explain here what's going on with Springfield. We've got some more Shohei Ohtani details here on that. And finally, we like Disney World here in the sports bar. I know some people are, up against them.
Big Disney guy over here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, somebody committed the ultimate sin here. Went to the "Do you know who I am" card. Don't ever do this.
No. All right. A round of shots on the way next. 585-866-4FAN, our number. 866-4326 in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Fan.
Sports Update.
A.J. Epineza, Micah Hyde not practicing today. Von Miller given a Veterans Day off. It's the Bills and Cowboys coming up Sunday. Sean McDermott knows this is a tough opponent.
They're explosive. I think they're a very talented offense. I think well coached really across all three phases of their team with offense, defense, and special teams. And they're, as you've seen and you mentioned, they're hard to stop.
Hockey tonight, the Amherst in Springfield. Don Stevens will be by at 7 o'clock. Sabres in Colorado, 10 o'clock for the puck drop. Sports is brought to you by GetMyPerks.com, where a lot of holiday gift ideas, including discounted lift tickets to Swain. For this and other gift ideas, head on over to GetMyPerks.com. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Bone-crunching hits, backboard-shattering dunks, bat flips, and hat tricks. 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about that Shohei Ohtani deal and the numbers behind it with Alan Borgaszewski. He's going to join us here in a little bit. Who is he? He's like money guy, numbers guy to all the agents.
Yeah, he's the tax guy. Like, the agent needs a lot of help in his corner. So Alan works with agents. He's based in Rochester. And look, okay, here's the scenario for this contract. What does this mean tax-wise?
He's got some serious connections in all professional sports. He'll be joining us here before 6 o'clock when we get to last call. First, a round of shots.
Yeah, as we've got this little bit of breaking news out of San Diego, where for the first time...
Ow! It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
The only thing was Rob Ray getting hit and puck in the head. If he went, ow, ow.
Somebody else got dinged recently. I'm trying to remember. I did see a clip of somebody getting dinged, and I thought, that would be a good replacement should anything happen to our friend John Sterling. But for now, it's still Sterling getting plunked.
This, changing the tone here, this is the words of Kristen Bush. She is the attorney representing the Arizas. It's been a long haul. It's long overdue. The Arizas have been put through hell. So for the first time, Matt Ariza talking to reporters out there today. And one of the things he discloses this whole time, he says the Buffalo Bills have been in contact with Matt Ariza, just touching base. Another thing we learned today, too, that Matt Ariza has been keeping himself in shape. So this was his pitch. He says, when I was cut, I was an NFL starter, just beat out an NFL veteran. I was on a 4-year contract, and that won't be handed back to me. No one in the NFL is going to go, here's the job you once had, so I'm going to have to regain my goal. I'm confident I will be able to regain my NFL career whenever that is. I believe it's more of a when, not if. Ariza also bringing up, and this is me paraphrasing here, the whole guilty until you're proven innocent here kind of storyline that this all kind of took for him, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I hope that he does continue his NFL career. I hope that he has a very long and successful NFL career. Just in the little bit that we saw of Matt Ariza that preseason, you had a feeling that there was something special about his skill, about his ability. And if other teams have noticed that as well, and he's in shape as he says he is, he'll be back in the NFL.
Well, if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I say, here you go. Like, okay, look, here's the 4-year contract that you would have had. Let's go.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, hearing him say that the Bills have remained in contact with him is encouraging. Right now, it's hard to say that Matt Ariza would be an upgrade from Sam Martin. But I feel almost confident in saying I think he would be an upgrade from Sam Martin, even though he hasn't been playing.
Remember, he fell to the Bills in part because there were teams like the Baltimore Ravens that put a D&D on him, do not draft.
Yeah.
And somehow the Bills either didn't pick up on this or they figured it wasn't whatever the case was. That's how we ended up in the 6th round, and we were all excited. He's going to get another chance.
I love the punt god. I hope he finds another home, or he finds a home back in Buffalo. I think the punt god has a future in the NFL, and good for him. And I hope that everybody has found peace through this process.
Yeah, as the woman is still got a couple civil suits against some other people, but everything can't say settled. It was just kind of dropped.
And, Matt Araiza fully in the clear. Homecoming tonight for Eric Johnson. He's the defenseman that signed a 1-year deal for the Sabres this past summer after having spent 13 years in Colorado. He's part of that team that finished dead last in the league in 2017. And then they won the Cup in 2022. See, that's how you build a team there, right? Bad. Look, well, anyhow. UPL is back from an illness. 10 o'clock on TNT tonight. CMF has it. Do we have it? I don't even know.
We have the Amherst tonight.
Yeah, but that's at 7. We could. Yeah.
Talk amongst yourself. I can find that out.
Okay, while you're doing that, the Amherst playing Springfield tonight. Springfield had their head coach get the call up today, Drew Bannister. Drew Bannister, head coach of Springfield this past weekend. He's the new interim head coach for the St. Louis Blues. This after Craig Berube was fired. The Blues now 13-14-1 on the season. This after a loss to Detroit, blowing 3 leads in that game. It was their 4th loss in the row, 6 in their past 8. Berube was the head coach of the Blues when they won the Cup in 2019. He was under contract till 2025.
Okay, I was glazed over there trying to see if we have the Sabres tonight. We do not. We have the Amherst tonight. Sabres on CMF. All right. So let me see if I got caught up here. So Berube got fired from the Blues. A little bit of surprise, right? Because he's the guy that brought them to the Cup, but they haven't been anywhere near that level since then. And they lost last night to the Red Wings. I did watch a little bit. My daughter's a big loves Patrick Kane, loves the number 88, loves Patrick Kane, the player from his time in Chicago. And she had a moment where I'm like, look at this. And she's like, what am I looking at? I'm like, you know what you're looking at. She's like, this isn't right. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't feel right. I know. It doesn't feel right.
No,
sorry.
Thurman Thomas in a Dolphin uniform would agree on that. Washington Capitals and Wizards are both bolting for the suburbs. What? Owner Ted Leonis is moving this team to a massive proposed development in Virginia's area, the Alexandria's Potomac Yard neighborhood. Ground can be broken in 2025 with the Caps and Wizards. Lease in the downtown Capital One Arena runs out in 2027. Dangerous, this is the wave of the future, right? It's not just one to have a new arena. You need all the bells and whistles and the development around it. You see what the Atlanta Braves did. You see these other teams, and everybody wants the development.
Can I talk about that for just a second here in Rochester? Because I wish I spent more time downtown. I would love to be able to say I go downtown Rochester with the family and we have a good time. And I actually did that over the weekend on Saturday. And it was the first time I'd been around that area there, that Martin Luther King Jr. Park where they have the Holiday Village and everything going over. Then everything that's gone on around the Strong Museum is fantastic. The filling in of the inner loop, whatever your thoughts are on that, the development that has risen from that,
it worked.
It's impressive. I mean, you walk around that area, that neighborhood now, and you see new housing, and you see new restaurants and new breweries and new activities and a new hotel and the parking garage, and of course the museum is the crown jewel of all of it. I get why billionaires who are going to invest what they want to invest in an arena or a stadium don't just want the arena or the stadium. They want everything that comes with it because it's remarkable. It's fantastic. Now,
okay, where are you going to go with this?
Same breath, I will say, my other thought was, how long before this sucks? Because we can't have nice things. I always fear that what looks nice now, 5 years from now, will be like, ugh. It just not,
well, the funny thing, the hot new spot isn't the hot new spot in 10 years from now, right? So that's kind of the
I think of College Town, right? Like College Town was beautiful when it first opened up. You had all these great stores and all these great shops and all these great restaurants. And now it's like, hey, let's slap a new coat of paint here. Let's do this here. And so I think of the development that happens around these arenas, around these stadiums. I don't fault these guys for wanting more because when it does go up, it's remarkable. And College Town is remarkable. It's still nice now. You go to College Town and there's a lot of stuff happening there. But I also worry, like with downtown, why can't we have nice things?
Well, I thought you were going to go in this direction. The Paculas had the opportunity to do this in downtown Buffalo. They did not because of infrastructure costs or whatever. I'm just surprised. They didn't want to overextend on that. They could have made a killing in downtown Buffalo with hotels and they did with the Sabres and Harbor Center, but they didn't have the stomach to move. And I'm just fine. I'm totally fine with it being in Orchard Park, by the way. The president of the San Francisco Giants said They offer the same deal to Shohei Ohtani, basically the same dollars, the money the Jays were offering, same neighborhood. Other teams that were in this, the Cubs, the Mariners, the Yankees, the Mets were never in on Shohei Ohtani. Apparently, owner Steve Cohen complained that Ohtani's agent never reached out to him personally.
Meet the Mets.
Is that the way this works?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Not how it works, billionaire owner.
We couldn't have deferred that?
With gigantic ego. Not the way it works. You have to go after them in this instance. Sorry.
The Giants did get one of many considered to be one of the top free agents this winter. He's outfielder Jung-Hoo Lee. He comes from the KBO. That's in Korea. 6 years, $113 million. He was batting .318 when he broke his ankle last July. Finally, we like Disney World here in the sports.
Big Disney guy over here.
Yeah. Yeah, like our daughters have kind of aged out.
Yeah, it's sad. We went in April. And as we were walking around, and I watched my daughters at the time, 18 and 13. And I'm like, yeah, this is probably it. Like, they're not getting the same satisfaction out of it that they got when they were little.
And the cat's in the cradle, and Mike Danger's getting old. His daughter.
Getting emotional here. My daughters want nothing to do with me anymore. It's sad.
Some idiot at Epcot thought it would be a good idea to cut everyone in line at the Soaring ride, or Soarin'.
I've been in that line many times.
Yeah, the young man was confronted. He went to the "Do you know who I am" card, saying he played for the UCF football team.
He's a big celebrity in Orlando.
Yeah, like that's a reason. Like, so of course, in this day and age, Danger, like you have a confrontation, everybody's got to take some video. The video has over 1 million views right now, this confrontation. And the kicker to the story, UCF actually had to put out a statement, quote, "The individual in the video on TikTok is not a member of our football team and has never been."
Well.
Yeah, don't drag us into this.
It's a way to get your program some clout to impersonate that you were on a team that, you know, like how much clout does Central Florida have at Disney where you can walk around and say, yeah, I play for the Golden Knights?
Well, see, I can tell this story now because they're out of business. When we used to do the hay rides out in Wayne County, I get a call because I was working with them. Players from the Rhinos showed up and they wanted to cut in line. And like, no, that's not. Do you know we're Rhinos? No, it doesn't matter. Okay, you can be with everybody else in line. Well, you know, we do a lot with your station. Okay, that's nice, and so does all these other people. So to you, the Rhino player that did that, you know, like don't ever go to that card.
Do you know who I am? Should never.
You know one of those Rhino players too.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But like that should just never come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Do you know who I am? Should never come out of your mouth, no matter what. Just eliminate it from your brain. It's gone. Alan's going to join us next. Alan Porgashevsky. He's a numbers guy, tax guy, accountant guy. Why are we having him on with us? Well, because he happens to work with agents, sports agents, big time sports agents, all these leagues, all these players, and he's going to explain to us what's going on with the Ohtani deal in terms that we hopefully can understand. I know how smart Alan is, so I hope I don't black out or pass out in the next 15 minutes hearing him explain this away to us. He's going to join us next for Last Call here on The Fan.
You're listening to the Sports Bar.
and get into the numbers a little bit more, why it makes sense, why it might not make sense. Alan, for those who don't know, and thank you so much for joining us and giving us a little bit of your time here, explain why we should listen to you when it comes to this Shohei Ohtani deal and everything that all the intricacies of it.
You're asking a lot there. Why they should listen to me, I have no idea why they should listen to me, although there is one thing that I like to take into consideration is when you look at a contract, there's more than just the numbers, such as $700 million to take into consideration. There's tax consequences, and you also have to take into consideration the time value of money. Much of this contract is deferred, and he won't see it for 10 years, and the last payment he receives is 20 years from today. So you have to take in consideration the time value of money. So when you look at those types of things, sometimes the overall number that we see when we receive, you see it from the news, isn't exactly what the player receives at the end of the day.
So, Alan, I guess here's my first question, because we've seen this reported that one of the reasons why Ohtani may have done this is, well, you're getting taxed a lot in California, and this might be kind of serving as a shelter. And I guess, would that be true? Because you're getting taxed, though, like the services were rendered while he was a player, so could that actually be a shelter, Alan?
It does level the playing field here. Obviously, playing in Florida and Texas, which have no state income tax, versus playing in California, whether it's Northern California or Southern California, you're looking at about a 13% swing. That's a significant amount of money when you're talking $700 million. The first person I saw do something like this was when Alex Rodriguez signed with Texas, and Texas has no state tax. So over this last several years, you've seen players look at states that don't have state tax because it is a significant tax savings for them. Now, what Ohtani has done here is, or his agent is, it's very unique because, well, two other players, Freeman and Betts, have also deferred payments for the Dodgers as well. So he's not the first player to do this. And Max Scherzer did it years ago when he signed in D.C. As well. So he's not the first. But when you look at the numbers here, it is a bit of a tax shelter because what he's doing is he's moving $630 million out of California by deferring it. So when you look at the numbers, if you compare it to Aaron Judge, and this is the one I wanted to look at because Aaron Judge is making $40 million over 9 years. Ohtani is making $700 million over 10 years. But when you take in consideration the time value of money, Ohtani doesn't receive his money right up front. He receives it backloaded. And you take in consideration the tax considerations. The two come pretty close. Judge's $360 million contract after tax comes out to be about $130 million when you take in consideration the time value of money and tax. When you look at Ohtani's deal, if he stays a California resident and all the money's taxed in California, the $700 million, taken in consideration the deferment and taxes, is only $132 million in today's dollars.
Wow. So that's a little bit of a crystal ball, though, right? And I love what time value of money. That's also the thing. I want my money now. Don't give it to me in 15 years from now. I want to invest it. And if I do the right things here, Alan, you work, just so we're clear, backing up here a little bit, you work with a lot of agents, but not necessarily in baseball. This is only a baseball thing, right? In terms of deferring dollars, correct? You can't do this in the NFL or the NHL or in any other sport, correct?
Well, I've worked with the NBA, the NHL, and NFL in regards to looking at contracts for agents. And the funny thing is, you're right, I don't work with the Major League Baseball as much. This is a collective bargaining agreement thing. The rules of negotiation between an agent and the team, or between the player and the team, is all written within the collective bargaining agreement. So I can't specifically talk about baseball versus the others, but from my understanding, you're right.
Amazing. Alan, it's great having you on, and I think we have a little bit more clarity as to the numbers behind this Ohtani deal because of your expertise and your wisdom. Thanks so much for joining us for a few minutes here.
Well, Danger, I would just add one thing. Now, I did mention how close the contracts are when you take into consideration a California resident, but what you guys were talking about is if he retires into Florida, the contract's now worth $157 million. So that's a $25 million difference by retiring and getting out of California and moving the money into Florida. If he goes back to Japan, the money is going to be taxed in Japan, and you're looking at about $150 million. So the difference between if he stays in California, it's 132, which is very comparable to Judge's. If he goes to Florida or Texas, it's 157 million. If he goes back to Japan, you're looking at 150.
Great stuff, Alan. Next time we'll try to carve out some more time for you. Thanks for helping us out here today, Alan. You're the best, bud.
Nope. Take care, Gino.
You got it. There is Alan Porgashevsky helping us kind of look at the numbers here, and interesting to hear his perspective that based on how you break this out, the deal isn't that much more lucrative than what the Yankees paid to Aaron Judge just last year.
Alan was the host of Amherst Hockey in the year 1994.
Look at that.
That's how I got to know him way back when. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go for something different. Look where he is now.
He doesn't hate money like we do. Speaking of the Amherst, 7 o'clock tonight, Don Stevens will have the call. The team is in Springfield. We're back tomorrow with Andy Behrens at Yahoo Fantasy and RJ Ochoa blogging the boys. We got CBS Sports Radio next on The Fan.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.